Hey guys, I'm Shark, and in today's video we will be doing the ultimate advanced Fizz guide, where we'll be going over everything from why you want to play Fizz and what to look for, how to use every ability as efficiently as possible, the best combos to win the laning phase and dominate team fights, summoner spell options, rune option, item options, how to perfectly play the early, mid, and late game, a ranged lane matchup guide, a melee lane matchup guide, how to close out games, a specific section dedicated to teaching you how to carry low/mid elo, where the carry potential lies on Fizz exactly, and how to consistently win the laning phase and cover basic common mistakes that basically all Fizz players do. Also, we'll be going over every matchup and how to win them, so yeah, this guide basically covers everything. Whatever goal you want, whether that's to reach gold, platinum, diamond, master tier, and beyond. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to have the knowledge to snowball and stomp your games out of control. I'm giving all the information I've learned playing Fizz for 5 years plus now, and you'll be learning from a near challenger level. So like usual guys, please like the video for all the time spent, comment what you want to see next, and subscribe if you want to see more like this in the future. Let's get into this. Well, in the lower ranks, as we all know, he's an assassin, which means in the 1v1 situation against players who don't necessarily know the ins and outs of Fizz, his dashes, his leaps, and, you know, shark ranges, they underestimate Fizz, and because your E makes you untargetable, if you're able to master using his E to dodge the enemy's most important ability, it's a 100% guarantee that you'll basically just always win lane, and I mean, it's Fizz. You can 1v9 games deleting squishies in legit 1 second time with some of these easy combos I'll be showing you later on, and I mean, you snowball out of control, you have tons of mobility, he's a lot of fun to play, and if you're looking for all of that, this would be the perfect champion. The higher the rank you go, Fizz is just the 2v2 situations you'll face. Pretty much Fizz always wins, since he's always looking to fight, always looking for plays, and always looking to roam. So he's a very just impactful champion in all ranks, with the lower ranks from iron through platinum, him being S tier, and diamond, him being B tier, and you know, right now, as of right now, master tier plus, he is C tier because, well, junglers tend to play around Fizz because once he gets set behind, he's kind of useless. It's really rough when you get behind on Fizz, so hopefully I can show you how not to. Alright, so now to show you Fizz's abilities. Basically, his passive, you can't do anything mechanically with it. It makes him ghosted so he can walk around and between minions without getting creep blocked. And he basically receives reduced damage from all sources based off of his AP. His Q, Urkshin Strike. Simple, mobility, gap closer. And basically this could be used both offensively to engage, and this is how you start off 90% of your trades if you want them to be extended and long, which is what Fizz is good at. And yeah, I'll show you some combos to combo after you Q shortly after, but typically you could use this both offensively to engage like that, or defensively, because in situations where you want short burst, you're going to E, auto W, and then Q away. So that way, these trades are called communal, which means you go in and you go out, hopefully bursting them more than they burst you. Fizz's W, Seastone Trident, it refunds the cooldown and most of its mana if you kill a minion or monster, and makes farming exceptionally easy on Fizz, which is really good, especially in the lower ranks where people struggle with that. But the first initial blast deals a good burst amount of damage, and for 5 seconds, every auto attack will deal enhanced damage. So it's burst and then consistent extra bonus magic damage. It's an auto reset, which means you could Q, auto W. It makes it quicker. Fizz's E again can be used both offensively to engage with a fat AoE slow, or defensively, because if you Q auto W for a short trade, you could E out. Another style communal trade. So Fizz's E comes in 2 forms. There's the E, wait a second, flop down, or it's 1.5 seconds, flop down dealing AoE and a slow, and there's the quick E where you recast it and you deal the same amount of damage, but it's a reduced radius and it doesn't slow. So in lane, I guess this is more of an advanced level thing, like past gold you have to start worrying about, but It's pretty easy to just predict or flash Fizz's E. Sometimes you just don't need the slow or AoE. It's better to just get the quick auto in and out like that in lane. But yeah, especially in teamfight settings, flopping down, dealing some AoE damage is nice. The slow can be used to peel for your marksmen, and it's very versatile in what it can do. And I'll show you some examples of that later on. Fizz's R comes in 3 forms. There's Chumpy, I'm pretty sure the names are Chumpy, Gumby, and Megalodon. The further it goes, the more damage it deals, and the bigger the radius, and yeah, just more damage it does. Typically in team fights, if you can get a Megalodon, that's game changing, since it knocks away all enemy targets from the original target it lands on, and it sticks. So if you land a Megalodon, it creates a lot of space for you. So you can Megalodon, E, WQ, it'll knock away every target, and it gets that one target you Megalodons isolated. But yeah, in lane, typically in lane and just in general situations, you'll land your tier 2 shark, which isn't bad because it deals damage, it provides a slow and a knockup. Now time to go over combos. In lane, against mages especially, before you're able to all in them, you have to get them to like 3/4 HP. The easiest combo to do that is double E, because you need this to be quick and fast. Double E, auto W, and then Q out. That right there will probably deal 3/4 of their HP, and they can only chunk out maybe 200 of yours. It's really good. It's quick and easy, and it pushes the pace of the lane, knowing that you start corrupting potion. If you want to go for the long extended trades, these are really good in lanes where they don't have much to fight back with. So we're talking Zillion, we're talking Anivia if she misses her Q, we're talking Ari if she misses her E and such. Like, this is the long trades you want to take if you're looking to even all in them. You want to, I'll show the cooldowns. Q, auto W, auto, E, flop down, auto, or yeah, and then Q. Typically you're gonna have lucidity boots, so I'll show you now. Q, auto, W, E, there, auto, and then most of the times what will happen is they'll chase you thinking you have no mobilities up, but since you have CDR, your Q should be on like a 5 to 6 second cooldown. Q back onto them, re-engage. The most common one-shot combo mid-game, where it's, you know, 1 second time you're one-shotting them, is going to be R, E, auto, W, Q, like that. And it's all supposed to be timed, and you could pair that up with the ignite if you have ignite, of course. It's all supposed to be timed, so that way they get hit all at once, and then it's really good. Some quick combos you could use when the minions are in front of you, like this. Auto W, pretty standard stuff. You're using your W as an auto reset, and as soon as their minions start aggroing you, you could just start walking back, and then the minions will start to focus your minions. Quick trade you could do, especially against melee lanes, mages too. If you are playing usually in the lower ranks and they don't tether you back correctly, is you could Q, auto W, E, flop down, and use the slow you get from your E to walk back, and they can't chase you down because of the slow. Those are definitely the most useful combos you can go for, and that's that. I'm coming back to this because I forgot to mention your skill max order is REWQ. You could argue there are some situations where you could put 3 points into your W, but honestly, I just recommend maxing your E. Is nice, especially for the lanes where you're autoing, like, I don't know, Yasuo, maybe Katarina. But your E is what makes you an assassin. It gives you burst, mobility, lower cooldown, wave clear, and at level 9 and 10, this is what will give you wave clear. Without the wave clear, you can't really do much because you'll be focusing on clearing waves instead of roaming and such. So yeah, I always recommend just maxing E. More quick combos is QR. Basically what happens is when you Q, you cancel your R animation, or mid Q animation, you're tossing out your R, so it's harder to react to. This is really good at catching opponents off guard, and I mean, yeah, it's really easy to do, and you can use your E afterwards to engage, but you just kind of have to get a feel for it. You can use practice tool for this, like that. You use practice tool for it, but you know, after a good 50 attempts, you should be good. It's all in the mouse movements. So cool. And then another common one is E, mid animation flash. Another way to engage, re-engage. Let's say you engage with your Q. You press E, pretend like you're going away, and you just flash back on top of them. It's harder to predict. E, flash away. You can't double hop with this. You can't double hop. It has to be E, E, 1 second, right before you fall down. The longer you wait and get the timing down, the harder it is to predict. How do they predict that? It's like you're flopping there, but you're on there. A tip not many Fizz players know about is when there are curves in the wall like this, you could E through them. So this is actually a really easy way to get vision, especially in the late game when you're trying to contest Baron. E, E back. It's like it takes a couple tries to get the hang of, but it's usually just knowing the walls in which you could do that. Because like right here, you could do it right here. Just get the hang of it. And that's all the combos. As for summoner spells, Ignite Flash, I just recommend you keep taking these up until Diamond 2, where you could think about taking Teleport and Ignite. Teleport Ignite works in lanes where you're playing against usually mages, people who take barrier. We're talking Karma, we're talking Azir. These champions that just stay back, they farm, and they'll never give you the chance to go for an all-in, and when you do, you'll be overextended and the jungler can capitalize it on that play really easily. I guess in lower ranks, these are two offensive summoner spells. So that means that you have no defensive mobility called Flash, and junglers can camp you. In lower ranks, I don't think they'll notice, and they won't camp you. But typically, I recommend just going Ignite and Flash. Pretty standard stuff because you're going to be playing aggressive. You're going to put yourself in situations deep in, and having another gap closer is just really nice, along with the Ignite, which is essential in the earlier laning phases for solo kills. The basic goal of teleports, if you are taking it, is it's a way to make sure your laner never freezes on you because you have a way to actually recall when you're low and then come back to lane with full resources. And mid to late game, you could side lane and then teleport to a team fight, or just teleport in the early game. But that's, you know, it sometimes happens. It's mostly for like the mid gaming to being proactive. All right, so as for build paths, every time you want to go corrupting potion, there's not a single time where you go anything else, and if you do, you're holding yourself back. Since basically, to summarize what all the starting items do, corrupting potion you build if you want to trade constantly back and forward, always looking for trades, and you're just looking to just fast pace, always be aggressive in lane. Another reason you'd want it is if you're playing very defensively and reactively and you always need sustain because you're always getting harassed. This is what I like to call the Tyler 1 special. He's recently been playing Fizz, and he starts Duran Ring, which he's a really good, you know, top tier challenger, top laner, jungler, ADC, and soon to be mid lane, I'm guessing. But yeah, the reason why you get Duran Ring is if you want long extended laning phases where you're utilizing its passive of gaining mana every time you kill a minion, and you're looking to farm it out. I mean, this is what Duran Ring is for, which is why you see typically mages get it all the time. On your first recall, your goal ideally is either 650 gold or 750. So that way, 650, you get Darksteel boots, or you get Darksteel Duran Ring. But there are some certain situations where you're going to back with 350, and in that case, you would be getting a Darksteel. So yeah, those are like your three options there. Reason being, Darksteel is a very gold efficient item. It will give you 65 AP for 350 gold, and that's just really gold efficient. And since Fizz snowballs, he wants those stacks. It fits his champion and what he tries to go for. Duran Ring, since Fizz has a semi-mana problem, Duran Ring will help that. And these two items combined just give him a really powerful early game, like a small spike when it comes to his burst damage. And yeah, the health, the AP, the extra additional damage to minions, I mean, that usually you don't pay attention to that, but it's the extra mana. Over time, if you hold on to Duran Ring for, let's say, the first 16 minutes of the game in total, that could give you a total of like 200 mana, which is pretty nice for an item that costs 400 gold. And then control ward, you should be getting those. Now I'm gonna talk about 3 builds actually. There's the most common, mango fish. This comes from Korea, so yeah, I mean we know. It's the basic premise is Dark Seal Duran into Lucidity Boots. The reason why you want Lucidity Boots is because the best Fizz player in Korea believes you don't need as much damage in the early game as you do need CDR, because your Q can be used twice in one trade. And I mean, having your Shark on a lower cooldown is nice, but CDR just helps Fizz. It makes his E on a lower cooldown so he could use it both offensively in a team fight, press Zonius, and then when the Zonius expires, he has his E back up because he has CDR. And his E in total is going to be around a 6 to 7 second cooldown in the mid to late game. The reason why you rush Zonius is because... Actually, let me update this. It's going to look something like this. Let me add this second base column, because on your second base, if you go Mango Fish's build, if you have 1,300 gold, you'd get this because it gives you ability haste and mana and such. But most typically, you will get the 900 gold codex because it'll give you CDR on top of the lucidity boost you'll get. So you'll have 30 ability haste at around like the 9-minute mark. And what you build that into is going to be Zonias. The reason being is because in the mid game, you're going to use all your abilities in like a 2v2 or 3v3 fight. Just engage first, use everything, blow everything. Wait a second, Zonias, and because Fizz is squishy, everyone wants to CC and focus him. While he's Zonias, they can't. Your team can follow up, and when the Zonias runs out and you're kind of just a sitting duck, you could press E again and use that CDR to just be very mobile, and yeah, your untargeted ability really helps. Usually within the build, he gets Magi, sometimes not. I'd say half the time yes, and after that you go Ludens, because, I mean, with the Ludens buff, it's pretty nice. But the Lost Chapter will give you mana, so that way when you're side laning, you could press E constantly on waves, shove out waves, and still have enough mana to come back mid for a team fight. But if you go variations of the build like Rocket Belt or Night Harvest, you will have slower wave clear in the side lanes, but you could use your W along with E's with Corrupting Pot to slowly, it's more slow to shove out the waves. And then after that, you know, you kind of get the standard stuff. Lichbane, sometimes he prefers the AP, especially if he backs with 1,250 gold, he'll get the Needleless Rod. You'll get Rabadon's Deathcat, Lichbane, or Void Staff. So it's pretty standard build there. The highest win rate build, believe it or not, what has the highest win rate of what people go is actually Proto Belt or Night Harvest. Most of the time it's just Proto Belt. This is the highest win rate build. You go Proto Belt because, I mean, typically it fits with what Fizz wants to do, which is one-shot targets. And, I mean, it helps you with fighting in general with the extra HP. It can, you know, save you, especially throughout, like, ignites and such. And technically, you are going to be in the middle of the fight, so having the HP durability isn't bad. You're going to get flat magic penetration, kind of like Ludens. And, I mean, generally, with this build, going Rocket Belt, you could opt for Magic Pen boots. And yeah, it just is a one-shot Fizz build with Magic Pen. But, you know, sometimes you have to go Lucidity. And especially if they have a lot of CC, having your E twice in the team fight may help you never get CC'd. So you might have to play for Lucidity boots or Sorks. You can experiment. After that, typically you go Zonias. Reason being is because, you know, what I mentioned before. In team fights, this is crucial to staying alive and being able to be mobile, use everything, and have a way to stay alive after that. Yeah, after these, what's good about Proto is this build, you know, originated from Science, another Fizz player who is among the top tiers. And well, yeah, another reason why Proto Belt's nice is because Wit's End is so popular right now. You can go Void Staff, second. You can go Void Staff second, and that's major. Because a lot of the times they go Merc Treads with Wit's End, and then it's like, what are you supposed to do? They're just stacking magic resist, so it's a pain. But typically you go Proto, Magic Pen, or Lucidities, Zonias, and then pretty standard burst items. Lichbane, Rabadons, or Void Staff. A variation of this is Night Harvest. With Night Harvest, you usually go Lucidity Boots. And, well, I mean, it's just another variation of Proto. I guess you could test it out. But the extra gap closing also makes it easier to just chase down opponents. I mean, extra mobility just, it never is bad, huh? And typically what I go is this is what I found the most success with. But again, Fizz, you can interpret him however you'd like. All right, so as for Fizz's rune page, this right here is the most standard, and this right here is what wait, can you not see my cursor? Interesting. This is what most people should go, and the only optional things are within here, mostly being the offense. You could either choose extra adaptive force. Most common is ability haste, because you know Fizz thrives with haste and CDR, and then you could go attack speed if you know it helps with that, especially in the EUS. I forgot who said it. I think it's like, I forgot his name. But the pro player there only uses attack speed runes because, I mean, it helps with wave clear. It helps with thinning waves, shoving waves, and just damaging in general. Short auto trades, all the above. But CDR is pretty normal in Korea and every other region. I mean, I guess adaptive force is more common. So I guess, hey, pick your region. EU West, Korea, or NA, OCE, and Phil. So I don't know, all the other regions. So pick whatever you like. I either go the extra ability haste or adaptive force. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. It won't stop you from climbing, but I mean, choose as you will. And then of course armor or MR, depending on who you're playing against and if they have AP or AD damage. What can be useful is going zombie ward. You get sweeper, sweep, and then it'll place like a friendly zombie ward, but you're losing out on like 30 AP at late game, mid to late game, without eyeball collection. So just always go this. And zombie ward, I mean, you could test it out again, but typically I just recommend eyeball collection. This is another variation you can do is within this tree. Since Ravenous Hunter got nerfed, you could go Indigenous Hunter. It'll lower, for every unique takedown you get, it lowers your sweeper's cooldown and it lowers your Zonia's cooldown. Both things Fizz uses a lot, but I mean, this is like very, I mean, it doesn't matter that much. You can choose as you will. Typically, you just go Ravenous Hunter. In total, with the end of the game at like 30 minutes, it'll give you like 2,000 or 3,000 healing. So the extra Omnivamp actually is not bad, but yeah, it changes like a 60-second sweeper to maybe like a 50-second or a 45 if you get all 5 takedowns. So, I mean, it's kind of excessively low. That's the thing. Like, how often do you actually need it? But test as you will. I just prefer Ravenous Hunter. Pretty standard page here. Some people say, but Fizz has some secondary choices, right? Triumph Cope de Grace just helps the most. He wants to deal more damage when enemies are low. I mean, this is kind of meh. It doesn't do that much damage, but Triumph is really what comes in clutch. Because when you tower dive especially, and they ignite you, this is what will actually save you. That 12% HP, it comes in clutch every other game, for the most part. And then you could switch Cope de Grace for Tenacity, especially if you're playing against the Galio lane and you just want, you know, Tenacity against their CC, because Cope de Grace doesn't really do too much, but pick as you will. Some people experiment going Time Warp with, what was it, Biscuits, because this makes you have a really quick pace and trady lane where you're always going to be full on your HP and mana. You could experiment with that, but again, Triumph just, it actually just, it's so good. It's so good, you know. All right, so now we're gonna go over how to play the Fizz lane, or just Fizz early game perfectly. So yeah, we're gonna cover it. Basically, against a lot of the AD matchups, we're talking Yasuo, Yone, Talon. You have to respect them up until you recall once, or just level 3 in general. So you have to let them shove you in, and your goal is to just let it crash under tower. Make sure, what's the button to make sure my, yeah, there we go. To make sure that you're healthy on HP once you're level 3 and after you collected most of the wave under tower. So all you're going to see me do is just farm, chill back, not get chunked out too much. And if Yasuo autos me once, it's fine, because then our minions will focus him and then he'll shove under our tower quickly. Don't trade him at all. Either wave and E him. That's kind of the goal. They're called high value E's, where you E your enemy and E the wave at the same time. But even level 2, you don't trade Yasuo level 2. It's level 3. Because then you can lead off with your Q and just find yourself in much more of a favorable time. But we have to, what's it called, take off his resolve, because he has bone plating. Okay, so what happens here is as soon as the cannon wave shows, you try to auto it, hit level 3, and once you hit level 3, that's when you're looking for the trades. You always lead off with Qs into melee lanes. Wave is even, so since his wave isn't too fat, we could try to go for the all-in, and like I said, it's literally just that. Q, and because we took Triumphed, we lived that. It's literally all because it Triumphed. But that's actually just how you play the lane. Get shoved in, hit level 3, make sure the wave isn't too big. Common mistake, what happens, why you lose trades is because you let your enemy build a bigger wave than you. That's a common mistake I'll show later in this video, like later in this guide. If the wave is too big, the minion damage in total when you go for the all-in will be like 200, and then in that case they could win. But since we thinned out the wave, we knew level 3 we win. It's an easy first blood. It happens basically often, very often, and the way to counter that is by Lee Sin camping. But yeah, that's that. This is an awkward spot since the wave is slow pushing towards him. I actually don't remember what happens. Does Lee Sin just go topside or okay? Wave slow pushing towards him. What the jungler can do is hold the wave here and freeze it, but you just kind of have to accept what it is and then just recall. Sometimes the jungler holds it, sometimes they don't. This is good because we shove it in. Every time you shove in a wave, it pushes back. We reset. I think it's 300. How much gold did we have? We had 750, so we get Dark Seal Duran, pretty standard stuff. And yeah, Yasuo goes for a cheater recall because he's trying to base and get an item. That's fine. What we're gonna do is probably just slow push it. And then what you want to look for is 2v2s with your jungler. Always being aware of what your jungler is doing is key. The higher the rank you go especially. Which is why you always want to have prio, which means the wave is shoving. So that way you can always be at fights first. We have the wave slow pushing. I have to mention, how you land your Qs efficiently is walking back and forth, back and forward, back and forward. Making him never know if I'm trying to engage onto him or auto a minion. And just like that, we get a trade-off. The goal is to E their most important ability. Since we have the wave shoving. We have a level on him. And you have to E Yasuo's Q. This is the same for Talon's W, and yeah. Now we get him low. The wave is getting mighty massive, dodges Q, and just like this, we're looking for a tower dive. Auto W Q. You gotta know your combos. If you don't know your combos, that's how you fail on Fizz. And then just E away. He ignites. He loses this full wave. Wave resets back to me. And just like that, just trying to recall. Alright, they chase and then I execute. Yeah, this is long chase. I just execute. So that's basically, I'm pretty sure that just covers the early game. That's how you play the Fizz early game. You gotta know when you spike, that level 3 spike is massive, especially because the wave will be pushing back to them. And on that pushback towards them, usually the junglers are looking to fight at Scuttle Crab, so you could be there. Gotta be paying attention to what your jungler does, but typically this lane was, yeah, this game was typically just a 1v1. Which, I mean, it happens, right? It just happens. We shove, and then I'm pretty sure at this point, every time you shove, you gotta look for something. We're looking for drag. That's the good thing about shoving, is you always have prio, which means you could roam. Get a quick kill onto Zyra. Now we're back mid. We didn't lose anything since we crashed it, and we're trying to set up a freeze. You never want to freeze against Talon or Kiana. Anyone who roams, you can't freeze on. That's why people think freezing on against Fizz is good. They could just roam. They could just roam. Because they're assassins. That's what they're supposed to do. You don't freeze on assassins. You have to slow push into them. That's the best way to counter them. But we're freezing on Yasuo since he can't roam. He's not good at roaming, and I'm pretty sure the wave is going to slow push back to him now, but typically, yeah. We're wondering where Yasuo is, but there he is. Trade him. He thinks we're going for the cannon. It's worth, because we're going to shove him out of lane here. We just have to E his Q. Or just dodge it, and then we win the trade. Because that's where most of his damage comes from, because that's how he could ult. Auto. Look. Walk forward. Back forward. Back forward. That's how you trick your opponent. Makes it confusing on whether you're trying to farm or go for him. He doesn't know. We go onto him. We shark him. Close distance since he could wind wall. We flash. Jungler comes. Kind of late though. Dodges Q, auto on the way out. Because my wave is so big, I know we win a 1v1 no matter what. And since this wave is so big, we go for the tower dive. And triumphed. Look at that. Triumphed. Triumphed gap. We live again because of triumphed. And just like that, we try to reset. We don't go for the tower plating because we don't know if Zyra's roaming. We have no vision on her. And Yasuo might just eat through the minions and get shut down gold on me. So, yep. Now this is the mid game. So, yep, you're contesting drag. This is why it's junglers, they need to make plays based off what their mid laner is doing. But I mean, I guess my top lane had prio. I ditch mid wave. You have to do this sometimes because winning these 2v2 fights means a lot more, especially for junglers, the higher the rank you are. I guess platinum, I think it's more of a diamond thing. Because in platinum, you never want to just sacrifice leads for yourself for your junglers. But the higher the rank you are, of course, things change. But yeah, now we're just collecting mid wave. We're so far ahead mid, though, that it doesn't even matter if we miss a little bit of a wave. I go proto belt. Sork proto gives us a lot of burst. We can burst anyone now. So yeah, we shove. Do we have ult? Okay, we do have ult. We look for the tower plating, maybe? I think we're looking for the dive because we're so far ahead. And if Yasuo can just be behind, we're chilling. Go for the E. Auto WQ and Shark on the way out. Yeah, he's molding. Because, yeah, sending Yasuo behind makes him literally useless. He's one of those champions. I mean, that's most mid lane champions, besides, like, mages, maybe. Get a tower plating. I think I recall. Lock my camera there. Recall. Get blasting wand. Pretty standard stuff. At this point, now that Yasuo is 0-5 and kind of useless, staying in lane doesn't do anything. So what I try to do, shove in waves and roam. Okay, after we kill him. Again, just kind of farming, I guess. We're farming him because we don't have to use our ult. When you have your ult, you want to be looking to make big plays. That's kind of all assassins. Let's unlock the screen. So you see, we sweep as we roam. We know Lee Sin's there because we spotted him on a ward over there. And we just try to go for him. I sharked the Zyra. I wanted to shark the Ziggs since he had shutdown gold, but again, it's just roaming that is what Fizz is good at. And that's how you snowball games out of control. Shove and roam. So yeah, after that we take drag. I reset because Fizz doesn't really take objectives that well. It's kind of his team's job, ADC and jungle. Come back mid. Pretty much I shove in a wave. What do? Take a tower plating or two with Leona? Yep. And then guess what I do? Look for the roam. Clear rewards on the way to roaming. Since my jungler isn't around, I can't make the play. So you gotta look for what your jungler is doing. Because Leona, I can't just give shutdown gold because Leona is in too deep. So I just back away. Because my jungler's topside and we're playing towards topside. So, yeah, it's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. Macro is hard. So it separates, you know, Master Tier Plus versus Platinum. It's the macro. If you don't have macro, then none of your plays will be consistent. Your consistency in carrying won't be that consistent. It's really good decision making. Yasuo is kind of confused. I think we go for the dive. Yep. Even flashes. Go for the dive because we know topside's just doing their thing. Graves play towards topside, which is fine. Now we just reset since we can get rocket belt. Pretty big power spike. And now what happens is I would think we go into the side lane to get the wave. I thought Ashe would go mid since everyone's mid, and then I would side lane. In gold, this never happens. I played as an example of how to carry low elo. Once in gold for this video, I pinged Tristana to go mid. She didn't go mid. This is just. Anyways, back to this. Let's go back here. This is why you go side lane. This is why Fizz side lanes for a little bit. He crashes waves under tower and looks for the roam as he's sweeping. And when he's sweeping and in the side lane, he comes from the side and looks for picks, and that's shutdown gold on Ziggs and another kill onto Zyra. That's why you do that. You clear side waves, and then you look for picks, whether that's in the jungle or just, you know, flanking for team fighting. See Lee Sin's there. I don't think we do much. And then we look for a recall. Oh, Lee Sin tries to bait me with a Q and then he just dies. So there's a recall into like Codex and Seekers. Yep. And how to play team fights. Basically, how to play team fights. In this game particularly, I'll cover it. The reason why you'd want to play front to back is where you auto whoever's closest to your ADC and then move onwards. Is if your ADC is fed, dealing the most DPS, their backline's behind, and yeah, your ADC is the one to actually deal the damage. And once you kill their front line, their backline's just kind of useless. They don't deal enough damage as much as, you know, your backline. So if that makes sense, you know, yes, you'll kind of get a feel for it. That's it. And how you play team fights, if the enemy's bot lane is fed, is you try to come from a flank. You try to come from the side of the team fight, land a shark onto them, or just EWQ if you're fed enough, like in this game. So that's how you play team fights. I'm not looking for Lee Sin. I'm looking for Ziggs. Or I'm trying to look for a flank onto there. But typically, I'm looking for Ziggs. But he's right there. So that's awkward. It's fine. He's out of the fight. So we can look for a dive onto Lee Sin. I kind of misexecuted. Not going to lie. But it's fine. I misexecuted, but we're good. Gotta always look for those flanks. Ziggs clears. Ziggs can clear from distances. And I'm getting a recall since someone died. We're not contesting anything. And I can get Zonia. So now in team fights, I just won't die as easily. I still can die. But look what I'm doing. I'm looking for a flank. You gotta play for vision control. Look for a flank. That's it. Over and over. Okay, we're looking for a flank onto Yasuo. He's kind of useless, but whatever. We get a kill in a tower, so we're spreading gold lead. Gold difference, I mean, it's there, you know? It can all stem from one lane. Oh, this is actually really good. It's I think I even used the Q. Oh, I forgot to cover it. We hit him with the Q shark. It wasn't as quick, but we hit him with a Q shark and then E flash. That way we're less predictable and we get another kill there. So yeah, now we're taking towers, we're taking inhibs. I think we go for the reset, or do we just go for the end? I remember we didn't end off this, did we? No, we didn't. But you already know we ended the game, so I'll 8 times speed this and then we zoom it, we kill. We just go for the end and bada bing, bada boom. GG. Hey guys, I'm Shark, back with the low elo section. Yeah, I chose to rank gold 3 because I think this is the biggest, I guess, middle ground for just the bracket. I guess this is like the average player's rank if you're, you know, bronze, silver. I think the most people are in silver. Gold 4 is where the highest percent, you know what I'm talking about. All right, I chose gold 3 because this is like mid elo, okay? And then what? Plat is high elo? Maybe that's mid elo, however you look at it. So yeah, we're playing against Malzahar, pretty medium difficulty matchup. I mean, I guess it's a pretty standard lane. We're playing against the mage Tristana. This is gold 3. She has no items. That's how you know it's gold 3. And you know what? It is what it is. Let's get into it. Or basically all we want is Malzahar to shove us in. Pretty standard stuff. Fizz can't do much. What? Alright. He can't do much up until like level 3. So we just gotta wait for the level 3 wave. Or he stacks the wave, crashes it, we hit level 3, and then we can all in him. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too far, but it's usually get a good trade, and if he stays after that good trade, all in. And it's also paying attention to what my jungler's doing. So when we get W, we could farm. Alright. I'll farm the minions. Actually, nah, it's not worth. I don't want to trade him right now. We're going to hit level 3 first since it's under our tower. We can look for the trade. we have a level advantage. Why am I lagging? No clue. But you see what I'm saying? It's literally just that. Stay healthy. Use corrupting and then just go all out on the bounced wave back. Mages, it happens all the time. This is low rank. So they don't slow push as slow as they don't slow push as efficiently as possible. Oh my god, Mr. Space Age, you're insane. I missed my E. Try to fast flop him. Didn't really need the slow there. And, I mean, yeah, this is actually low elo. Because how does Tristana have no items? Tristana has no items, yet she still gets a kill. No clue. I get this. Probably could have gotten Duran Ring if I got one more minion, but we're chilling. But I mean, for the most part, this is very ideal situation. Now the wave's on our side. We're up a level. We gotta wait until the minions start attacking my minions. Otherwise, it would focus me, and yeah, he's not tethering my abilities at all. He's not kiting me out at all. So, I mean, this is low elo after all. What tends to happen. Usually in the higher ranks, you gotta play for those 2v2s in the jungle, but he's gonna go for the cannon. We're gonna kill him for it. That should be enough. What? No shot. And we missed the cannon. Did I really want to flash for that? He took ignite. That's fine. Kind of sucky though. I just need a QW. And just like that, he overstays. So, I mean, this game, we're just playing for the 1v1. The higher the rank, you gotta play for those 2v2s with your jungler. I mean, typically, Malzahar's laning's pretty weak anyways. What builds am I going to go? I guess the standard one. Why not? I guess, why not? Yeah. Where we rush Lucidity, was it Zonias into Ludens? Because that's what most people end up going anyways. Should I? Should I? Or should I just get Proto Belt? Because that's what I prefer to get. Ah, why not? I'll get Proto. I feel like it's just stronger. Oh, I'm MS lagging. Crazy. I swear. It's not in my head. Now we just freeze. Oh my god, I'm lagging. Why am I lagging? Oh my god. That is so weird. I'm just gonna... It's gonna be kind of a sucky trade. But I gotta get his shield off so that way I could all in him. It's gonna clear the ward. Just gonna all in him here. He ignited me for no reason. Oh well. Just collect them. And sooner or later, we're gonna start roaming. I mean, basically, why? CDR can be good. Another reason why. Max CDR. Okay. Let's hope Evelyn isn't here. I'm literally lagging. I can't stress this enough. Like, it doesn't look like I'm lagging, but I actually am lagging. Your Q. If you engage with Q, you might be able to use it twice within a trade. We can get Duran. Usually Darksteel Duran. First back is ideal, or like the best. 750 gold, but we only had 650. because you can double gap close. Q to engage, re-engage with Q, if that makes sense. But if you're playing the one-shotty Fizz, where your goal is just to, you know... Maybe it's one of my settings, actually. Hold up. Because I don't have this on any other... It's like camera shake? I don't know. V-Sync? Okay. Malzahar's roaming. Kind of random, not gonna lie. And usually on Fizz, I mean, it's shove and roam. That's kind of how your champion's designed. See if Vayne overstays since it's low elo. She might be recalling right there, and because okay, she's overstaying. Nice. Oh, and she tanked 2 tower shots. I love this. Maybe it's the region, I swear. Maybe it's the region. Alright. Oh, we get some XP too. Nice. We'll just leave it like that. I don't want to recall yet, because the cannon should hold most of the minions. This regional gap. I swear. Oh, see? I'm a part of this region too. Ah, we're chilling. Yeah, we're chilling. It's NA. This would never happen in Korea. Run it up. Gotta auto him. Now I'm just gonna try to all in him. Gotta get enough mana. Basically, you only mistake in low rank. Let's wait for him to eat the minion. If he R's me, he's gonna die, and then we get the kill. And what's it called? It's how you use your E. It's typically what determines if you win or lose lane, especially in low ranks. Always got to be using it proactively. Wait, nah. I'm going my build. The one where you go rocket belts. First originated from science. But yeah. I think I might be getting ganked. Yeah, can't stop this. Can't stop this wave from crashing. I might just start roaming. He's 0-4. Oh, Pyke is mid. Doomed. That's doomed. Action's coming mid too. They really want my shutdown. I mean, it's smart from them, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why? Why can they do this with no punishment? Malzahar should have no shield. I should be able to EW Q him. Should one shot? I think he's roaming bot. No, he's okay. He's right there, lagging again. Something is just so bad right now. What is happening? The 2 kills bot. What is happening? Oh, Gangplank TP'd. Typically, you gotta shut down mages before they scale. Post 1 to 2 items. Luden's is like a massive spike. It's when they can start dealing some work. Vayne top. It's annoying how everyone's building Witsand now these days. So, if you go Zonia's first item, lagging again. If you go Zonia's first item. Oh, wait, hold up. What? I thought it was because maybe something was like. It's like something in the background. Might be making me lag, but that's not the case. Like, you see it in the movements here and there. Like, how, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's a lot more noticeable when you're playing. think Malzahar is here. Oh, that's doomed. I guess that's my bad. That's my bad. I was in too deep when jungler or anyone was around. Ay, ay, ay. Imagine if I lose this. Probably won't. I hope. Who is it? As long as they don't build Wit's End. Which, yeah. I'm guessing they're not. Knowing that they don't itemize perfectly. But they might. I don't know. Wit's End's so broken right now. And it's good that I'm not the only one who's fed. Oh, Xin Zhao. Nice W. You can all in, all in, all in. Go, go, go. He has no ult. He actually can't do anything. Oh, thanks for taxing. Might be able to roam it bot. Oh, Yuumi. Yuumi just soloed the pike? Question mark? Nope. Sag. Got one. I'm pretty sure Xin Zhao gets the other. Yep. I don't think I needed to ignite, but it is what it is. Do I have enough? Yeah. There's no more tower platings for us to take. It's time to just go for the reset. Got rocket belt. Massive. We have 2 drags. We could play for a Dragon Soul win condition. I mean, typically, if the opponent you play against doesn't want to fight you, shove in the wave and roam. Try your best to not use your... It all depends on how you use your E. If you use it just in the middle of the wave, they're going to chunk you. They're going to fight you. We can't. Maybe we can kill him. Need a minion to queue back to Xin Zhao? Oh my god, he's griefing me. Actually, he killed all the minions so I couldn't queue back. Actually griefed me there. That was a close one. I was about to give shutdown gold. Maybe I should what's the other thing? Quick cast with indicator. It'll help. Alright, now Tristana goes mid. I go bot lane, side lane. Nope. I'm guessing this is low rank, so they won't listen. Probably. They don't listen to pings. Is Freelo? I have no proto. Yeah, okay, you're dipping. It's correct macro. Ah, come on. This is simple stuff. At least to me. This is that way you guys could take mid tower and I could side lane and get picks. But I guess not. It is what it is. Objectives are being taken. You see the lag. No way no one can see that. Notification. What is happening? Malzahar just AFK shoving. Typical. Typical. Alright, that's my bad. But it's fine. Again, I should be bots. Mid tower would be so easy to take. And you guys wouldn't get 5-manned. What? 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 Weird. Are they gonna take drag wall? It's funny. They can't. This is why you go mid. So that way you don't get 3-manned in the side lane, but... Oh. Good thing I'm Fizz. I should have enough movement speed. Nope. Fortunate. So cringe. It's the simple macro that's just throwing. Well, I guess they're just not gonna listen to pings. And then we lose drag because Night Harvest Yumi. It's like I should be able to 1v9 this, but... What even is this? Why are you farming raptors? What are you doing? What are you doing? So damn... Oh my god. Useless, man. What actually tilts me is the pings. It's not the fact that they're so bad. It's the fact that they didn't listen to simple pings. Might be able to look for it on Malzahar. Heal. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Teamwork. I might need Yumi just to hop on. Yeah, that actually might be win condition. Can't get ultied. Nah. Now she's going side lane. What is this Tristana doing? Everything. It's just incorrect. I'm taking the wave. So useless. Leave the game. I don't care. You're so difficult. Alright, we're chilling. Better roam at top side. Vayne does not have Wit's End. It's like the only thing to really give her MR, right? Anything else? No. QSS, but that's nothing. And she doesn't have Immortal Shield Bow, so we could definitely dive this. Or just take tower. Wow. That seems unfortunate. Oh. Oh. Triumphed. Oh, let's go. Perfect. Perfect. Teamwork, yeah. It's because she has no MR or just defense stats. And we're 9-1, which is fed enough. Is this where they forfeit? Since weak mentals? No. Oh. Baron. That's probably a really good call. Yeah, that is a pretty good call. One that... Well... It's a coin flippy call. I just expect that there's no vision on it, so they don't contest. And think I'm mid, so there's no way my team could do Baron. Yeah, Malzahar's bot. We're good. It's a really good call. Oh, It was warded. Ha! Funny. Oh, nice job. Very nice job. No, it's fine. It's fine. The fact that Xin Zhao doesn't have sweeper is questionable, but that's okay. I'm not expecting the best gameplay anyways. Nice kill. We could just play for Dragon Soul win condition. Yep. Oh no. Again, questionable. Why? I have Zonius just in case Pyke tries to ulti. Tristana. These are just the decision making. It's okay though. It's because I'm expecting too much from these people. Is this really what Gold 3 is? It's like there's a mix of like decent calls and yeah, okay, that's normal. That happens in all ranks. Like, let's be real. Happens in all ranks. And this build is, it's wrong. It's wrong. You're supposed to go Phantom Dancer. Sometimes the collectors, but I mean, yeah, just go on to me, Yumi. Go on to whoever's strongest. Tristan is going mid. Hop on to me, Yumi. Press E. Q. Thank you. Maybe we could. I'm not even kidding when I say Yumi, and I can probably 1v9. The only thing that stops me is mana. It's fine. Oh, collectors. My bad. It's the collectors. I have Lichbane, and I didn't have mana, so I couldn't EWQ. It's fine. Oh, that's it. I can 1v9 this game. You can even go on to Xin Zhao. He's doing well. Both of us can be win condition. Do not ever go on Tristana. Unless she gets 3 items. 3 items might be another spike for her. I don't know. I feel like it's just much more rewarding to go on to me or Xin Zhao. Zhao. Got you. I just gotta say thank you, you know. Night Harvest, Horizon's Focus, it could work. I heard that Yumi's Q got buffed with AP. So, yeah. No one's going defense. So that's why this game's like 1v9able. Up. It's worth. I get shutdown gold and I can go onto Pyke. Now we can get onto Evelyn. Another shutdown there. Get double buffs. Maybe I should get Magi's. I'm already getting... How much? AP? 65. So it's just worth to hold the Dark Seal. Lag. Everyone saw that. Let's be real. I might be able to sweep. Maybe I have to go. Zonius. Maybe I have to go. What's the item called? No, I'm not gonna listen to your calls. Shove mid though. I have to side lane and then come from a flank. I have to go void staff. If they get enough MR. I don't think they will. Well, they all have invis. That's insane. They all have invis. Well played on their part. It's because no one has shove. That's my bad. My bad. It's because why is mid not shoved? No, this is it's literally, it's been 3 minutes since I got the kill topside. It's good because Xin Zhao can clean up, but like, how? Were you farming camps while I was fighting topside with Vayne and got a pick? Where do I go? Void? Yeah, Void. Just trying to stack MR. Because in the words of Tyler 1, I'm a bit of a problem. Just go for the inhib and reset. There's no need to force. No need to force under their tier 5 2 towers. I need to be there. Let's go, Yuumi. Giddy up, giddy up. Fight for drag. I'm not gonna listen to pings. I feel like they have my pings muted at this point. Like, actually. Nice pick. Good. We got Malzahar Flash, which is massive. Knowing the champion he's playing doesn't have any mobility. Killing spree. We have to speed it away. Yuumi, yeah, that's nice W. Xin Zhao gets drag, Gangplank's at drag. Again, just never on the same page. Never on the same page. It's like I'm trying to contest inhib when no one, everyone refused to go drag. And then whenever I'm like, okay, we're not gonna go drag because you guys want to play team deathmatch, you guys go for drag. These, I guess this is kind of weird. I've never played in this environment for so long, but so be it, I guess. We probably just play for top side. Reset Baron, yep. Right play. I have to shove top. Mid gets shoved too. There's a lot of ways we could approach this. Play the river game, going for picks. If Xin Zhao hovers me, that's even better, but can't rely on other people. I don't have sweeper yet. 7 seconds. Can I red? Or can I blue? Can I blue? Oh, thanks. Because I don't want people to ult F4 for no reason. Alright, I should clear top. They're probably going to fight while I clear top. Guaranteed. And this is a bad Baron. We should probably just turn it on them. Turn it on him. Yep. It's not a good Baron because they're all alive. And it's easy for them to steal, so you got to turn it on them when you have lead. Oh, it's a nice one. She has MR. But good thing she doesn't have armor. Just like that. Ooh, it's a inhib. Might be the game. There's a lot that happens in this rank. I'll just say that. Some stuff are good, some stuff questionable, but you have to just adapt to how fast-paced they want to fight. Play for those fights since you're Fizz, and that's kind of what you're good at. This is zoning shark. And just take it from there. I'm out. I probably did the most damage, but I'm out. Show you the damage charts. Alright, so now the ranged matchup guide. This is actually a pretty common counter against Fizz. It's actually Lucian. It can't, it is a hard matchup. It just depends on your rank. The higher you are, the more of a hard counter this is. And the reason being is because he can do this. Stand in front of waves and such. And if I was playing it in the lower ranks, of course, Lucian would just quick shove me in. I'd wait until level 3, trade him because he doesn't know how to kite back. Trade him again. I would get into Q range, and that's how you know the Lucian's playing the lane wrong. Or they're not Eing as soon as you Q. So, I mean, this is realistically what you have to do in these hard range matchups. Maybe, I don't know, Orianna and Lucian. Who else is another one? Or picks like those. I'm trying to think of another one. I can't. But basically, you actually have to just respect them. He took exhaust, pretty smart. Because, you know, Fizz's burst is kind of one-sided post 6 once he lands the shark. And, well, the goal is to minimize, have half CS as him. Let me get this out. Up. The goal is to have half CS and wait for your jungler to gank. Don't take too much damage, have half CS and just try to farm. Try not to get queued. And just relax. Like, that's literally it. And then, right there, I went for a mini trade because, you know, the wave wasn't too big for us to deal with, and it was a pretty good trade. Much more, it's not really Stowaway I could set up a kill. Maybe so, if possible. But it's Stowaway, my jungler can maybe look mid, but I know I have Evelyn. And, well, there's not much that can happen with Evelyn jungle pre-6 unless she has camouflage, and you'll see later on. I'm not going to flame my jungler. I'm not going to int a kill. And see, look, I Q, he E's back, and then there's really nothing I could do. Because as soon as I E forward, he could just combo me up, and his wave will be... It'll be to his benefit, and his whole wave will deal like 100 damage to me. So it's literally just farming and being at half CS, and I'm basically winning the lane because I'm not being a burden to the team. How I get ahead is waiting for jungler gank, and I mean, if you're low rank, of course you can't necessarily rely on that. But it's helping junglers in 2v2 situations and roaming. You can almost always do that. You just have to wait for the right roam timings. Evelyn shows mid, or pings that she's coming. This is kind of risky, but it's Fiddle jungle. He AFK farms, and just like that, I think we just burn a flash here, but that's okay. I can't go forward because I'm too low. What I really need to do is get the wave in, so that way it resets back to me. But Lucian stays. Post 6 is where you could do a lot more. Pre 6 is kind of rough. And in these lanes, I mean, you technically can take TP Ignite. He's just waiting for me to shove in the wave because he knows Evelyn might be hovering, but Evelyn's taking Scuttle. And it half crashes. So yeah, you kind of have to just respect things for how they are and then come back to lane. Half CS. And if I was level 6 right here, I'd shove it in and then maybe look for a roam topside. But yeah. Come back to lane. The wave is slow pushing, which means we could trade right now. We could hard trade right now because our wave is bigger than his. And his wave won't retaliate as hard as my wave if he fights me in the middle here. And I go for that mini trade knowing that, you know, Evelyn can sweep with a little gank. Go for the Q, flash, auto W. And the higher you go, the more junglers play for your lane. Because they know if Fizz gets behind, it's a 4v5. If Fizz gets ahead, it's a 6v4 because he makes another person useless. Because he's an assassin. I crash the wave. What do I look for? Pan cameras to the side lane. If you can't win 1v1 against like Lucian, some of these lanes, you gotta look for the side lanes. Once you shove in waves, when you get the opportunity, shove it in. Look for a play. I don't know what happens here, but you get the premise of things. And then Lucian's building MR. Because, you know, on this comp we're heavy AD. Or AP. I think we get a kill. I die, but that's fine. No, it's not. Well, I give shutdown go to Sona. So it's like not the worst thing in the world. But it just could be better. Yep. Lucian takes like a tower plating, but I mean, it's fine. Tower plating and wave, because we helped our team and we helped our bot lane snowball. Fizz, you either got your snowball yourself or snowball your team. Otherwise, you're dead weight. Especially when a lot of these picks, they outscale you. Like Lucian. Late game, if he's 3 items versus Fizz's 3 items, most of the time he'll deal more DPS. And he has the option to go with sand, merc treads. And I mean, it's rough. Going for trades. I'm going for trades so that way my jungler has the opportunity to gank. It's not necessarily because I can kill him. I E forward, he E's away. So, I mean, It's kind of doomed. We're just waiting for our jungler. He flashes away, but ends up getting the charm. I QW. I WQ because, you know, he can't do... If he flashes over the wall, I would E over. I didn't lead off with E because he didn't have flash, but, you know, any dash, any E. And I think it's either crash. What is it? Crash into reset, yeah. Of course, things would look way different if I was playing against, like, Orianna, Anivia. I covered one of those matchups within the how to... What is it called? What did I call it? Like, how to solo carry? How to translate leads? Whatever I called that section. I played against Orianna. I showed you. You could trade against those lanes, but Lucian, it's quite tricky. Lucian goes for the roam. We spotted him on a ward, so I'm just trying to shove in the wave. And I'm pretty sure after I shove this, do I roam? Because look. Yeah, I do. Because if you shove in waves, if they give you opportunities like these to shove in waves, it's free roam. You have to be panning your camera to the side lane every time you shove. Fiddle's here, which is kind of scary. I go for the shark, hits the Sona. But Fiddle, oof, what happens here? Yeah, Fiddle comes in, I E away. And then he just, I guess he came too late. Since we have Ivern and Rengar bot, we're trying to turn it on him. We have TP from Karma. Might be a double for me if I have E. I think I already used it. We don't have... Oh, yeah, I have E again there. And I get a double. But it's through roams. Every time you get the opportunity to shove in waves, Lucian recalled, whether he's going for camps, whatever that may be. Shove in waves and you roam. I got a triple kill just right there. That's how you win the lane. By not winning the lane. It's through roaming. Setting up roam timers. That's what Fizz is good at. And the lower ranked you are, the better it is. Well, yeah, because people fight. It's very likely someone will be low in the side lane. But, yeah. Recognizing wave states, I think, will be hard. Especially, like, Platinum's where it starts. Like, if top laners stack waves, that is the easiest way to roam. If they slow push and stack waves, it's free low. And just like that, I shove in a wave mid, and I try to look for the action. But, yeah, he's kind of gone. I'm roaming, though. Every opportunity possible. We're trying to take drag, maybe? Yeah, we take drag. We'll play towards that drag soul win condition. And we'll go back mid. We tank a wave. We take one tower plating, but at the expense of 2 double kills and 2 tower platings bot, it's like, it's always worth. But you have to roam correctly. If you one miss roam and it's like you're down a level and like 2 tower platings, it's really unfortunate. And he set up a roam timer right there. He set up a roam timer. He sees me on vision. Okay, he exhausts me. I think I just back away because short-term win. We get a free exhaust, which means he can't stop me or Evelyn from one-shotting. Yeah, roam timers are massive. If you want to play the winner's game, which means you're making game-winning plays, game-winning roams. Riven TPs. I think I shark her on the way out. Oh, it hits the Sona. It's no one. Who windwalled? Did anyone windwall? Ah. That's just bad. That's just bad. Or it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just not the best. Action kind of just... Alright. Action kind of just does as he wishes. Just like that. We shove in a wave. Try to look for the roam. Other than that, I mean, look at that. It's a creative play. Because we know that Fiddle cleared bot side is moving towards top. I didn't go for the roam top. Riven just recalled. Creative play. Shove in wave. Look for this. We know Fiddle has stopwatch, so we don't lead in with our R. We have 2 levels on him. We proto one-shot him. And we take red buff. And that is so massive. For our Evelyn, who can take Rift. Who doesn't take Rift, I'm pretty sure. But it's fine, because Evelyn can farm. See what I'm saying? Lucian's trying to go bot. We crash in mid. Sadly, can't get the tower, but... yeah. The lower the rank you are, the more you can play for the 1v1s. But high ranks, it's all about the 2v2s and helping your team through roams and such. Especially in some of these lane matchups like the Lucian. What happens? I recall. Try to recall. There's a fight mid. I Q Shark. So that way Lucian can't react. Nice bushes. Rengar gets the kill on the Lucian. I think we just reset right here. right? Yep. Just reset in the bush. Because now we want to go to the side lane. If possible. But this game is so chaotic. This game is so chaotic. We're going mid. Because there's a fight every 2 seconds. We can't just leave our team stranded. But it's solo mid gold. Plus 300 there. And now we're looking for drag. Because we're playing towards drag soul win condition. Get a pick on solution because he's overextended. Most of the time at this point, Fizz will be side laning. But this is like the exception. It was more for like a ranged lane matchup guide. This isn't like a how to carry. I covered that section later on in the vid, I'm pretty sure. So yes, Proto. Do we shark? Oh, we flash shark Action. I think that's not bad because we have Rengar. So now we go into Sona, most important target, healer and shielder. Get another kill there and I just E away. This game, we just target whoever's the most important. Oh, Lucian has Mao. This is so beta. Gale Force and Mao. So we need like Void Staff third item. Because that's so common. It's either Mao or Wit's End. Yep, we side lane top lane. Shoving a wave. They're fighting mid. This game wraps up. You want to shove in side waves and then look to team fight afterwards. That way you're ahead of gold and such. But yeah, we reset one last time. Pretty sure we just run it down. Just like that, my team. I'm pretty sure they win without me. Yep. That's the ranged guide matchup. Alright, welcome to the what's called? Welcome to the specific section on basically how to translate leads. So yeah, roughly this is a Diamond 4 game, and I mean, since it's Diamond 4, it's likely that I'm just, you know, gonna get ahead through knowing the lane matchup better. And then I will, in specific, go over how to carry leads as Fizz. We're playing into, this used to be a, what's called, counter to Fizz, like hard counter. One of the harder mage matchups. But ever since they nerfed, was it Orianna's MR when she has her E on her? It was something like that. It was just to nerf her defense. She's a lot more killable. She took exhaust and typically, okay. She did not take any damage from my minions. We wanted to slow push it to our tower, hit level 3, and then we can maybe look for trades. Exhaust will make going for the kill a bit harder, but it's all good. We have Nocturne, which means he'll probably full clear up until level 6. A way to get ahead without even laning is just looking at what your jungler does. And then, oh, okay, I am recording. Looking for the 2v2 in the river at like, what is it, like 3:15? She's really slow pushing the wave, so I have to just start autoing it now. There's no shot I can get it to slow push. Crash under tower and reset it. Like, yeah, she's not attacking me as much. This is really good on her part. Gotta be very, I can go for this. Go for a long trade since none of her minions are attacking me here. This is actually a really good position. Holy. Oh, missed the cannon. Big mistake on my part. She's kind of weak early on. If we're able to find the wave in a favorable spot. I'm trying to hit level 4 before I look for another trade. Reason being, that's good. Just phase rush. Oh no, she has Ares. Okay. She's trying to chase me down the long lane. That should be enough. You just gotta be tricky with how you auto and such. And that's gonna crash. Bounce back to me, and maybe I could help my jungler here. Yeah, this mage matchup. Dark still Duran. Just gotta be tricky with how you play it. You can't walk very linearly. You have to walk back and forward. Go for E trades, then when they overstep, go for Q trades. E, starting off with E trades is more for the short burst, while Q is more for the extended long trades. And then now she didn't exhaust there because we were very tricky with how we approach things. But now, okay, our jungler is well off. Nice. And it's all about adapting because like right there, she didn't slow push the wave under our tower. I can't. She didn't slow push the wave under our tower, and we didn't collect it at level 3. But she just kept, like, or she did slow push it, but it was way too slow, you know? And she actually is kiting me out pretty well here. That's how they're supposed to play it out. And usually the jungler is supposed to influence this lane when she overextends like this, but I'm guessing he's waiting until level 6. I don't know. She's not trying to take too much harass. You're level 5. You can go for level 6. He's like, yeah. I go for the Q, E. Because I'm the one with level 6, so I can all in her. You level 6? Exhaust? Nice. That's really good by my jungler. Yeah. This lane is so tricky. Gonna crash. I think I can go for 1 tower plating. I don't need this tower plating necessarily. Because, well, no, it's good. I'm gonna go magic pen boots. Magic pen boots into rocket belt. Because it will give me a lot of burst. I feel like going for one-shots onto this team comp is best. And they do have CC, but as long as I maneuver correctly, I should find myself just looking for the damage and one-shotting these 4. But translating leads, it all comes down to taking bot tower, bot goes mid. That's so good. Using my Q and then double hopping onto her. Because we're ahead, we just want to trade. She has no exhaust, so we can go for the all-in next time she steps up. We can go for the Q, E. There we go. And it's all about roaming. Shoving waves and then roaming. It's like a major. Oh, another cannon missed. I'm allergic to those this game. We're going for drag. We always have prio, so anytime our jungler gets into, what's it called? A fight. Yep. Anytime our jungler gets into a fight, we'll be there first compared to Orianna. Get Q off. There we go. See, it's roaming. And then it's roaming whenever you crash waves. So that way you lose close to no minions, or the minions you do lose, it's worth it. Like these 6 minions is worth the kill we just got. Or the assist. And helping the team get drag. So yeah. Garen's at blue. You always gotta play towards your winning side. So I'll just go towards bot side. Always. Just roam there over and over. It's doomed. Oh, I thought Orianna roamed. I could try to help there. That was kind of the goal. Oh, got the ult off. Is she holding the wave to try to freeze it? That's fine. If Fizz is a champion, it just comes down to backing up your team. His 1v1 can be good, but if played correctly, sometimes you actually lose the 1v1 against champions. And you just have to play for the 2v2 or roaming. We're taking Rift. We got Rift. Now time to look bot side. Because it's a free kill. It's a free kill. That should kill her. And then my jungler can get all that XP bot. We'll deny them mid. Okay, my jungler should go mid. Because, I mean, it's just good free XP. And then once we take bot tower, our mid lane, our bot lane can go mid lane. Kind of an overstay, but I really want my alternator. They're not going to get a kill. In fact, could have turned it on them if they did chase. Want to get my alternator and blasting wand. Oh, we're taking mid tower first, hopefully. Nice. Yeah, most of the times, enemy mid laners, especially if they're like ranged, they beat you in CS, but you should be always dominating the 2v2s with your jungler, along with just being kind of a roamy champion. That's where you thrive. Maybe I can go for a trade into all in. Maybe just all in, because I'm going for this one-shot magic pen build. Oh. It's so doomed. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, Pyke doesn't have ult. They're walking back. What? No shot. They're playing magic tricks, man. Oh, go there. It's only top lane we have to worry about. But as long as our Ashe is fed, ADCs are so broken. Past like the 20-30 minute mark. Past the 20-30 minute mark, when they have 2 to 3 items, they deal the most DPS, and tanks, they just get shredded. Sadly, I don't know if Garen can get shredded. She won Immortal Shield Bow when she should have went Cockine Slayer. Maybe I could roam top. I don't know what they're doing. Oh, bot lane going top isn't bad. They could take top tower. Yeah, that's 2 kills there. Play for drag. Playing for the roams. I think Orianna's there, so I don't want to turn. It's all about the roams. This is where the carry potential lies on Fizz. It's his ability to always win fights. Yep. Oh, this is bad macro. They should not get drag ever. Because we could play for drag soul win condition really easily in this game. I'm here though. We can fight for it. That's the thing. Like, they don't have anyone to fight with. Oh no, Garen's here. That's why. Hook him. Nope. Oh, he's fed. This is my bad, actually. I think this is my bad. This is doomed. This is my bad. I didn't think Garen would be this tanky. He's going full AD. I guess that's what happens when you're a bruiser and you're ahead. Enoch up. We need a little bit more than that. This is bad, man. Our ADC is top side alone. This is just really bad macro. Easy pick. Easy pick. I need to get my ignite off. Need my E. Triple kill. It's not bad. They got drag, but we got a lot from that. We got Ashe farming up a storm, so we definitely will win next team fight. Because I engaged onto Garen. Didn't think I underestimated him. But yeah, we just do what we do best. Just pushing. Garen's bot side because he wants to match me because he just wins. He falls off late game. That's the good news. Rift. We might be able to take inhib by like the 20-minute mark. It just takes one good team fight in the mid or side lane. We'll use Rift. I'll get Zonius. Use the Rift. This is a horrible build. For this game in particular. Wits End, I'm a fan of. But they have no one who's AP that's fed. An Immortal Shield Bow over Kakin Slayer. That can't be right. That can't be right. No, maybe. I mean, I guess Immortal could work. It could work. Hey, if you're dealing the DPS, we're chilling. Hey, there's two bot. Placing Rift mid. Farmed her like a minion because she has no Immortal Shield Bow. Not yet. Oh, I missed my R, sadly. Oh, Master Yi's top side? Wow, talk about D4. Talk about D4. Oh my god. Talk about D4. Amazing gameplay. It's just such question. It's like their mechanics aren't even that bad. You saw the Orianna in lane. Their mechanics aren't even that bad. It's the macro. It's the decision making around what they're trying to accomplish. I'm like, yo, this can't be right. And it isn't. But, oh, nice one. Her Q gives her vision, I forgot. Alright, we can just sell this. And now we can get Zonius. So team fighting is typically just easy. We took inhib kind of early because we can't contest Baron. Someone should go bot. Should probably be the Orin. Reason being, if it's not Garen, we'll roll them. And this decision making, where it's laning phase decision making to actually getting solo kills early and understanding lane matchups, and then it's mid game macro. Those two take years to build upon, but when you do, that's when you become a lot more consistent at climbing. People in low ranks, they sometimes do this. They sometimes do it correctly. The decision making, it's just, it doesn't happen consistently. You know? Nice. Just like that, it's a push. I don't know if Master Yi is trolling. Maybe they gave up mentally, but we should be playing towards top side. Maybe we can go for a kill here if he walks back. Yep. Should be bot side. It's like we don't have Ludens, but we're staying healthy when it comes to mana. She has Immortal. She had Immortal Shield Bow and we still one-shot her because of our build. Oh my, that's just called Fizz. Immortal shield bow. And we became untargetable. You knew that was coming. We were untargetable, so Orianna couldn't even exhaust us. And that's literally just how you snowball games. Now we don't even need this. There's no objectives to contest. Or not at their base. It's drag. I'll go, why not? We can go drag and then Baron. And then because they have 3 inhibs, the minions should do most of the work, and then that should be the game. It should just be quick. Because we have I think this is normal for Ashe in particular, because she's more utility based. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe like Vayne, this build would be horrible, or Tristana, but she's playing Ashe, so I mean, it's okay. We just can't play front to back as well as some of the other builds may have us doing. Take blue. All right, you know what, I'm pretty sure we're just gonna push it. My team won't listen to macro, and that's all right. Just one shot him. You can see he has no MR. Just push it now. No, we can go Baron. Yes. We could do either one. Either one's a win. But I guess the Baron choice is a lot more safer. I'm gonna be here so that way I tank some. Don't want my team to get too low. And honestly, we don't have to recall anymore. We can just run it down, since the minions will do most of the work. So yeah, that's basically how you carry on Fizz. It's through roaming at correct timings, learning just lane matchups, which take time, always looking for picks when they least expect you there. That's why you take Zonius. I might be dead here, but that's alright. We're not a KDA player, we're a winner player. It's gonna be how you carry, especially in like low diamond, low elo. Now it's done. I'm out. Alright, so now we're going to be covering basically every lane matchup there is on Fizz to play against. I'll be going in alphabetical order, so if you want just a specific matchup, you could probably just skim, see whichever matchup you want, because, you know, timestamping every single one of them. Will I do it? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to be covering over every single lane matchup, starting with Ahri, who is... honestly, some people say hard, some people say medium, some people say easy. I say medium, no meme. It's actually a medium difficulty matchup. You have to know how this lane plays out. It's hard to explain, because pre-6, you have some kill pressure onto her, knowing that Ahri's early game, pre-first back, is worse than yours. You have to play it correctly, and just saying play it correctly is kind of hard. But when the 6 minions come in the middle, you're going to, of course, just play it safe. See how fast Ahri pushes. If she's really slow pushing, the goal is to hit level 2. If her wave isn't bigger than yours, if her wave is bigger than yours, you might want to think about going in. Okay. If her wave is bigger than yours, you might want to think about not going in and just letting the wave slow push and crash under your tower up until you're level 3. If the wave is even, you want to be autoing minions. Hit level 2, go for a mini trade. Double E on top of her and then W. Just try to get good trades in. Try to get good short bursty trades in levels 1 and 2, or just mostly 2. Don't play it too aggressive level 1, because you only have E and that doesn't really do much. So level 2, you want to get a short bursty trade, and then level 3 is where you want to go for those really long trades and possibly looking for all-ins, because Ahri's really squishy in the early game. And if your wave, it's all about wave state. If it's favorable, where you have more minions pushing back towards her, then you're basically always just going to win fights. If you E her E, guaranteed one. But, you know, of course, it's harder said than done. You have to use mind games to try to predict when the RE will E. And yeah, after first back, it all comes down to burst, because RE wins if she chips you out with Q. And if you Q max range, she could E you right in the middle of it. So you might have to start off trades where you double flop E on top of her and then WQ. So yeah, that's the RE lane. Post 6, landing mid-range sharks is key. You can't land megalodons, otherwise she's just gonna ult away from it. And again, she's a champion that can get bursted. CC and burst counters her, and that's kind of what Fizz has, is burst, but it's executing on that burst, which is, you know, kind of where it's a little bit of a struggle. But I recommend even going magic pen boots, because all damage is good damage against RE. Next on the list is Akali, a hard matchup, and was ideally the biggest counter to Fizz. I think it was last season, but ever since her mini rework, where she's weak is her what's it called? It's her early game. So pre-6, believe it or not, you have a lot of kill pressure again, kind of like the RE lane. Previously, before, you could never start W, because if she starts Q, she'll just Q, walk back, and then auto you. But now you actually want to start W. Whenever she pushes or goes for a minion, you just walk up, W, auto, get the empowered burst, and then walk away. Slow pushing waves into tower diving at level 3. It's kind of how you win this lane. So whenever she goes for a minion, W her. Level 2, try to get an E double flop. So you're, you know, recasting it twice, getting the burst there, auto Wing. This will put her at around like 1/3 HP. And if you slow push the wave correctly, you should be able to tower dive her at level 3. And if she plays really far back and safe, you can get a really good recall or help your jungler at Scuttle Crab. That's mostly how the lane will go pre-6, and it's very replicatable. You could do that every time, because her early game's really weak compared to yours, especially when you're taking corrupting and she starts like Duran Ring, whatever she may start. Even Darksteel refillable, you'll beat her. And then post 6, you never want to use your E deep into the lane. If you use your E deep into the lane, she will combo you and completely kill you. How you win is exactly, it's going for a short trade, whether that's Q auto W and then Eing away, so that way she can't fight back. Going for a short trade, whatever that may be, whatever combo you may use, you can refer to my previous combo section. And then all-inning her when she's at 3/4 HP. Because if you land a long-range shark, it reveals her inner shroud, and you can combo that with EWQ. So it's really easy to burst her when she's at 3/4 HP. And the pain is when she kind of goes Merc Treads. Sometimes they go Merc Treads. And in that case, bursting becomes, you have to be a little bit more cautious about, or just knowing your damage limit when she has MR. You don't have to worry about that. They usually don't build magic resist up until like Diamond Plus, and you know, that's like top 2%. So it shouldn't apply to most of you, but yeah, kind of like the RE lane, you have to get medium range sharks, mid-range. I think the shark's name is Gumby. You have to get medium distance sharks, not Megalodon, because Akali can E your ulti pretty easily if it's really far ranged. But yeah, medium distance sharks are key. So that way you get the burst, the CC, and it reveals her in her shroud. Akshin. Akshin is basically Lucian 2.0. It's a lot of speculation right now because, well, I mean, he's a newer champion and I've only played against him like 3 times and watched a couple of replays on this. If he goes the Karkin Slayer or Gale Force build, this lane is a lot more manageable since he's burstable. And you could go for a short trade into all in post 6 if possible. But if he goes Wit's End, the fact that he can go Wit's End first item, he'll just out trade you. So, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like the Lucian lane. You have to play for roams. You have to play for the 2v2s in the jungle. Jungle mid laner versus jungle mid laner, where Fizz tends to win. And then just playing for roams. If you're able to get the wave in and shove in, like let's say he recalls out of awkward timing, shove in the wave, roam, play for your team, and you might not win 1v1 if they're good. But yeah, the lower the rank, you tend to be able to win the laning phase a lot more because they miss position. And in that case, you could queue onto them for trades and then, what's it called? you could shark them at long ranges where they usually just don't dodge. Especially if you time it when they go for a minion. Like, they're just going to go for the minion, and you could shark them at max range, and you'll just insta-burst them. To cover the Anivia lane, she is pretty medium difficulty matchup. Typically, how you play this lane out is you have to get her egg pre-6. That's so essential. If she holds her egg post-6, then you actually have to ult to get rid of the egg. So that way you can kill her the next time her egg is off. But how you play this is typically pre-6, she'll just shove you in autos. Her auto is really long range, and she'll probably combo you with auto E. Try not to get electrocute procced, and dodging her Q pre-3 level 3 is essential, because if she lands her QE, that will literally do half your HP early game. People don't respect Anivia, as yeah, she is really underrated. She hasn't been meta. Not many people play her, but when you do play against her, you cannot get dominated pre-level 4. Wait for the wave to come under your tower, hit level 3. If you Q, you have to keep in mind that she will definitely Q you. It's really easy to time. So you might want to think about leading trades off with your E and then auto W Q, or just queuing to dodge her Q when she tosses that out to you. But if you get hit, so be it. Long extended trades is what is really good, because she'll be shoving towards you, and then you could capitalize on that, whether that's a jungler gank or just solo killing her. You're not really going for the solo kill pre-level 3. You're just trying to get her egg out, because post-level 6, if you land a mid-range shark, it's a basic one-shot. Like, she cannot live that. Even with Magic Mantle, she still cannot live that. At full HP, Fizz with Darksteel Duran has enough damage to one-shot Anivia with a full combo with Ignite post 6 if he lands a mid-range shark. So yeah, post level 6 Anivia will just tend to ult the wave. You might want to contest, yeah, especially if you, again, it all comes down to getting rid of her egg pre-6. If you get rid of her egg pre-6, when she ults the wave, you could QR her, and again, she's dead. Like, it's literally landing her R, and because her movement speed is so slow, your R is so easy to land. Time it whenever she goes for the wave. Yeah, that's that. And then 2v2, typically you win with your jungler depending on who. If she has like Anivia Xin Zhao and you have, let's say, like a Karthus, you don't win. But typically if it's like on even grounds, Anivia Xin Zhao versus Fizz Lee Sin, you'll win the 2v2s if you play it correctly and you just focus one target at a time. And yeah, that's how you beat Anivia. And then roaming, how mages win typically is they just AFK shove you in and you don't contest them at all. Eventually you have to just contest them completely when the wave states are good and execute on your combos, because, well, burst is how you counter mages, especially control mages like Anivia. And that's that. Annie's pretty easy. People may say it's hard in lower ranks because they don't really get Annie. Annie can be a pain because her E shield gives her movement speed. It's kind of hard to land your shark because she just movement speeds away from it. But she'll slow push you in, obviously, right? She has longer range, you know, her Q to push in waves. Level 3 onwards, even if she has stun, let's say you Q auto W, you have to make sure the wave, it's all on the wave again, that her wave isn't super fat and you're fighting her on a fat wave. If you Q onto her, auto W, every trade you start pre-level 6 should be starting with Q, because long extended trades is what will win you this lane. Because Annie, after she uses her QW, she doesn't have anything, and it's not a lot of damage early game. So killing her pre-6 happens pretty often if you just let the wave slow push towards you and not take enough too much damage. And then on the wave that pushes out after it crashes under your tower, and that's when you want to take really aggressive trades, and you could slow push it into tower dive with your jungler if they're at that level. But yeah, typically they just walk up, you Q onto her, auto W, E, flop down, auto Q. She's another champion that's really squishy early. And post 6, you cannot be under 35% HP. So always using your corrupting pot to stay at full HP is essential. Q auto W, or is that's one short trade you could take post 6, or double Eing, auto W, and then Q away. So that way it bursts her to 3/5 HP, and then now you're relying on mind games because you have to land a mid-range shark to get the one-shot combo off. 2v2s you win, hardcore. Annie, especially pre-6. For those scuttles, your jungler should always have scuttle because you just win. You hard win those 2v2s because Annie can't do much pre-6. And yeah, just roaming. She doesn't have a lot of wave clear, so, and when she, let's say you shove in a wave, you roam, by the time you come back, the wave will be at your tower. She's not like a Lucian. She won't take 2 tower platings. I mean, roaming against Annie and losing nothing when you come back to the wave happens quite often. Yeah, that's a lane. We got Aurelion Sol, unpopular champion. It is kind of like Twisted Fate, except a little bit, you could say, laning phase wise stronger, but impacting the map weaker. So against Aurelion Sol, especially in the lower ranks, if you Q on top of Aurelion Sol and just E his Q, you just hard win. You can mid-range shark Aurelion Sol and one-shot Aurelion Sol. I mean, yeah, Fizz is a counter to Aurelion Sol because there's not a lot Aurelion Sol can do besides get like barrier and merc treads. But then Aurelion Sol deals no damage. You can start playing for 2v2s, shove in waves, and start out roaming Aurelion Sol because Aurelion Sol doesn't have wave clear without AP. There's not much Aurelion Sol can do. And this is kind of a free win. Just let him shove you in. Okay, you hit level 3. Go for long trades where you're just standing right in the middle of him. Like you're just autoing him. And he can't push you back because he's not level 6. Or even post 6. Just all in him. It's a pretty easy lane, and Aurelion Sol isn't chosen that often, but yeah. Azir's hard lane. Hard lane, the higher the rank you are, lower ranks, maybe easy, honestly. He'll take barrier, he'll play safe. He'll be really hard to kill and just try to keep jabbing you out. How you win this lane is you actually have to get into range, and that is so hard to do. It's a control mage. So yeah, post 6, it's all about the post 6 all-ins, if possible, because going for kills pre-6, it is doable because Azir is especially weak at this point. But once Azir gets, I don't know, Bax gets another Dark Seal, or gets a Dark Seal during ring, maybe some attack speed, start shoving out waves. Well, most times they just go Ludens. It'll become, you know, quite the pain. But, yeah. This lane, you really do just want to play off roams. Roams and 2v2s, those are like your strong points. The isolated 1v1, it's kind of a pain because you have to just all in him. Going for short trades is hard to do. He has his W soldiers. He slow pushes waves exceptionally well. He'll contest you whenever you try to farm, and it's because of how he slow pushes. And he has his QE combo to dodge your shark. So you have to be very strategic about how you try to shark him. And most of the times they don't take teleport. They'll take barrier or they'll take exhaust. So all laning him is hard. So honestly, I just say this lane, you probably just want to play for the 2v2s and roaming, which I showed you how to do earlier in the vid. Brand lanes, if you ever play against Brand, he has a lot of bursts and he's popularized in lane because of the recent buffs they gave him. Riot keeps buffing solo laning Brand, which is kind of crazy. He's a typical mage. Pretty easy matchup. I want to say medium though, since his EQ combo is what he relies on. If you dodge that with your E, you should be able to win. But at the same time, he could ult himself now, or he could ult and it'll hit you, hit him, hit you, hit him, deal a lot of damage. How I recommend playing this lane out is short burst trade, whether that's double flop, auto W, Q out. Short burst trade, get him the 3/4 HP, and then all-inning him with a shark. Kind of, you know, repetitive, but I mean, that's literally how you win these mage matchups. He can't kite you out because his range of his W, Q, and E are within your range of your Q. So it really, you should be able to get the trade off, but the goal is just not to get comboed and destroyed, especially if his wave is bigger than yours. So yeah, that's how you play the Brand lane out. We got the Cassiopeia matchup, pretty medium difficulty matchup. She outscales you. Just note, this matchup really just relies on her Q. It's her Q and how she uses her W. Typically, you want to lead every trade you want to take, you want to lead off with your Q. Because your E is going to be your way of outplaying her Q. And if she W's, you have to, it's your clicking. You have to maneuver the way you auto, it's the way you dodge her Q. It's the way you tether her Q, because if she lands her Q, she gets movement speed to kite you out. Her E does more damage. She gets stack Conqueror really quickly. And yeah, dodging Q is key. She's a very all-inable character. But if she lands Q, she gets movement speed. So her R, or what's called her movement speed, will kind of outmatch your R with its travel speed. So just don't get hit by Q. That's like, if you do that, you could win this matchup with complete ease. And it comes down to dodging her ulti by just looking away or pressing E. It's whenever she uses her most important ability. And if you could time her W with your E, like know when she's gonna W and then E her W, massive. Typically, short burst trades is going to be key because she takes Conquer. And she's looking to land 2 Qs and EU like a total of 10 times to just win trades. So short bursty trades. If she misses her Q, then you could take the extended long trades. But you have to factor Conquer, and it's kind of, you have to get the hang of it, because if she stacks Conquer, she's another champion when it comes to how much damage she's capable of doing. But she's again Q reliant. So dodge your Q, you win the lane. Diana lane, it's pretty easy, and isolated 1v1 situation may be hard, not gonna lie. It 1v1 situation may be a bit hard. 2v2s you always win, especially pre-6. But Diana's W just tanks your whole E's damage. So if you do want to E, you have to wait until the shield goes down. And how you win this lane, if you want to just focus on the 1v1, post 6, land the max range shark when she goes for a minion. Q, W, auto, 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 auto. And when she ults, press E. I'm not kidding. That's all it takes to win this lane. It's post 6 if you land a max range shark. You just E her ulti and you'll just win. But if you miss your shark, you're doomed. But that's why Fizz roams better than Diana. So that's the good news there. But the thing is, Diana will most likely shove you in because she has better wave clear than you. And in that case, your jungler should in theory gank, since Diana has 0 mobility. So there's just ways to win this lane. And when she overextends, ping your jungler and just shark him. Shark her because, again, she has no mobility. She shoves waves because that's how her natural champion design is. But when she shoves in, she has no mobility. Because guess what? Everything is balanced in a way. If they have a lot of wave clear, typically they have no mobility. If they have a lot of damage, they have no mobility. Or at least that's how things should be. And that's how Diana is. She's really good. And the only thing she has on you is her ability to side lane is just way better than you. Especially if she gets a lead. Yeah, her tower taking skills are better than yours. And she could take camps far more efficiently than you. But where you win is the 2v2s and roaming. So that's the Diana lane. So the Corki lane, I'm going in reverse order. I forgot about Corki because I didn't even think he was a champion. This is like weaker version of Lucian. So it's like, kind of have to respect him. His autos deal less damage than Lucian. Sure, he does scale, but it's kind of like a Lucian scaling. He's just easier to all in. And his W's on a longer cooldown than Lucian's E, so you could actually get into range for those short-term trades. And it's really easier to do. So I'll call that a Corki lane because you could out-roam him and the 2v2s you typically win with your jungler. But I'll be going over the Lucian lane a lot more in thorough, because Corki's like a mini version of Lucian. The Echo lane, basically, you always start W level 1. You never want Echo to just shove you in, because how he wins is what Echo has is more wave clear than you. So him shoving in the waves is how he wins typically. Pre-6, you definitely do win. You just have to E the second part of his Q. Make sure, yeah, your E dodges his Q, and if possible, hits him. You win short burst trades since if he has his R up, the goal is with your Q, W, and E to make him use his ult and ignite him. Since when he ults, it kind of shows in like a little hologram, you'll be able to time it with your ulti, and your ult will deal the damage, you win with Ignite. The main key in lane is that he doesn't get his passive off. And that just goes for his all-ins too. Like, he isn't much of a champion. He isn't a powerful champion if he doesn't land both parts of his Q and E. So, yeah, you just have to play around that, and it's kind of tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. And solo killing him pre-6 is kind of the goal. And how you do that is through starting W. If he walks up to the wave, hit him with a W, walk back, and what is essential is dodging his Q if possible. Like, fake a minion. Even if you miss the minion, just walk away, because if he Qs, he loses mana. On top of that, he he'll have no power in lane for the next 10 seconds. And on top of that, yeah, you'll just have full control of the lane. And the goal is to make Echo max range Q and miss out on a ton of minions while you last hit everything well mid game, because when you're ahead enough, you could just zone him from the complete wave and he'll just never want to trade. And if he doesn't want to trade, that means he can only go for minions. And if you're zoning him from minions, what ends up happening is you'll slow push the wave, crash it under his tower, and just look to roam. So, I mean, you win through roams, 2v2s, you definitely win pre-6, and that's typically how you win the Echo lane. Fizz versus Fizz, the better Fizz wins. Okay. Galio, I typically banned him before when he was S tier. I don't ban him anymore ever since they raised the cooldown of his W, lowered the magic shield of it. This is now, in my opinion, a medium difficulty matchup, when it used to be a hard matchup, and people say this is the hardest counter to Fizz. In my opinion, not anymore. The AFK shoves you in because you can win this lane 1v1, especially like pre-level 9 and pre-2 backs. I'll say you win. You win with damage. He AFK shoves. He'll use the Q on the wave. You could E his Q. It's inevitable. He'll W your E. But extended long trades is where you win. When he uses everything, he is just a sitting duck. If you get ganked, just make sure to Q to him and stand in front of his E so that way he has no gap close away. After he uses his E, he has nothing. So his burst is very one-sided, and it comes from just his W, Q, and passive auto. If he uses his passive auto on the wave and Q, he has nothing for the next like 8 seconds. And the goal is to get his magic shield down on his W, no matter how you trade on that, and just keep it down. Always queuing him, always just getting into his face. And yeah, because the magic shield got lowered, you can kill him pretty easily in lane pre-6, guaranteed, because he's always shoving, puts himself in vulnerable spots to ganks, at the same time vulnerable spots to getting all in by Fizz. Because start off with those Q trades, of course he's gonna W. If you could E his W, great, but most of the times, I mean, yeah, you'll get hit by his W and E, but you should be able to live that and then just turn it all on him with these long trades. And I mean, you have to watch VODs on it, because it's kind of hard to say, but when you see it in action and get a feel, play the lane like 20 times, you'll get the hang of things. And this lane, you'll be like, wow, this lane is easier than I thought. Because yeah, it just comes down to mastery of champion. Garen's a pretty common counter pick to Fizz, and if I don't even want to say that, he could build full damage and still be so tanky, which is so bad. It's a pain to deal with. But I will say that your mid game and your 2v team fighting is just way better than Garen. He's one-sided. He just wants the side lane, and typically, I mean, he just isn't the best mid to late game, especially if you don't give him the lead he wants. If you could shove and roam, great. 2v2s are a bit tricky, knowing that these champions are known as, what's it called? They stat check you, so they deal more. They literally deal more damage than you. You can't E his Q since you can't dodge auto attacks, and the goal is to E his E. But I mean, it's really hard. You have to get ganked, and it's a pain, really. You have to play for roams and 2v2s if possible, and just playing for your team, because Garen's mid to late game is going to be weaker than yours. That's like the one lane I will say that typically you will have the upper hand when it comes to getting or outscaling him. Now we got Gangplank. Typically, what's called long trades. Don't let him Q you. You have to respect the distance and range. You might have to miss out on a couple of minions. That is okay. Get shoved under tower. Hit level 3. Start looking for those long trades because that's where you shine and thrive. Post level 6, especially if he has no MR, he's very all-inable. And the 2v2 situations with your jungler, you almost always win. Typically. Yeah, you just win. Yeah, he's a scaly champion. So in the early to mid game, you can roam, cause havoc, and he can't do much to stop you besides just farming up and scaling. And he's kind of like one of those ticking time bomb picks where he will scale, he will outscale you, but especially if he builds no defense, try to one-shot him in team fights, and that's how you counter Gangplank. Gwen lanes are pretty tricky. With these new champs, I don't have like a long description to say, since I haven't played against these champions over 20 times. I played against Gwen maybe 10 times. And what I could say is you could E her, her charged Q. That is one thing. Or just dodge it altogether. It's better if you dodge it. But you never want to use your E deep in lane because she'll just combo you with her ulti and chase you down the long lane with the slow. She doesn't need flash. She could take TP ignite because she has her E and ulti for stick potential. So you have to be very careful about when you use your E in lane. And typically, yeah, sharking her is even hard because her W. So she is like I think she's a hard matchup because she kind of stat checks Fizz in a way. That's my opinion. But your roams are way better, hands down, because you're Fizz after all. And I guess jungler assistance is good. But I find that in the mid game, usually the games how I win against Gwen is the lane most times is even. Like, again, in terms of kills, it's either I out-roamed her, I won 2v2, or in the mid-game team fights, I just played it better than her. Whether that's using my ult to just completely destroy everyone in her ulti, or in her W circle, or just deleting the squishy targets. So that way, I'm just doing a better job at team fighting. So yeah, I never really won this lane throughout laning against her 1v1, but it was more for roams, 2v2s, and team fighting. I feel like Gwen's kind of a stat checker to Fizz in a way. Heimerdinger, very uncommon pick, or the higher the rank you go, of course. But Heimerdinger, you have to all in him, hands down. I don't know, going for short trades, it's kind of a pain, since if he's good, he'll just press E whenever you go for the Q. He'll always shelve, of course, but it's going to be your shark into all in, which is going to find you the most success in this lane. Because, I mean, going for short trades, you can only do one short trade because, let's say you E in, double flop, auto W, and you try to Q out. He's going to E you, all his beams and turrets are going to hit you, and then the minions from his side are going to focus you. So that's going to literally put you at 1/4 HP. You're going to need to heal that up with corrupting and try to all in him afterwards. Typically, the reason why Heimerdinger won't do well in most situations is mid-game. Fizz can play it better than him, because what does Heimerdinger offer besides, you know, turrets? A little stun versus Fizz's AoE shark, untarget ability, and just pressure he can apply compared to Heimerdinger. The mid's late game, these are one of the lanes where maybe 1v1 you will lose, especially if he takes like barrier exhaust, barrier ignite, which is what he does often. These awkward summoner spells, you'll win in the mid game. So yeah, you can play for the mid game. I don't know if you can play for Rome since he always shoves you in, but that is the Heimer lane. Irelia post rework. So the Irelia lane's interesting because level 1 and level 2, you have to respect her. You only have EW versus her QE. With 4 stacks, she will beat you. So when she crashes it under your tower, once you hit level 3, you definitely win level 3. Especially if she doesn't have 4 stacks. If she has 4 stacks, so be it. Typically, this lane, if she rushes Wit's End, it's hard to kill her 1v1. And you might want to just play for roams. But if she starts building towards Divine Sunder, she'll most likely build Merc Treads. But even then, she's 1v1able. It's all about bursting her when she doesn't have 4 stacks. 4 stacks is her win condition, and she gets 4 stacks by shoving in waves. She shoves in waves, which means she is vulnerable to ganks. And, well, yeah, your jungler can capitalize on that. But it's playing off when she doesn't have 4 stacks. And E-ing her E. Pre-6 and post 6, if you E her R, that's massive. But it's Eing her E. Since if she E's, she's most likely going to pair that up with a R. So it's Eing her E. And just making sure that she doesn't combo you up with her Q. Typically, yeah, she shoves. She can get ganked. And her build, most of the times, if they're good, they'll build defensively with Wit's End and Merc Treads, which is a pain to deal with. But eventually, in the mid-game team fights, hopefully your ADC can burst her down with Cockeen Slayer, whatever they may build. Just shred her, since she's all MR. And then if she doesn't go MR, you can actually play for the 1v1, since you can burst her quite easily. Especially when, yeah, most of the times they just take Ignite Flash instead of like Exhaust Flash. There are like variations they could do in lane to make it harder to go for the solo kill. Whether that's Exhaust, Merc Treads, Wit's End, it just depends on the Aurelia you're playing against. But if they get no defense, your one-shot capabilities is just high up there. Next up, we got Kassadin, one of the hardest lane matchups to play against, which is why this is typically my permaban. Let me turn this on. Oh, too bright. This is my permaban, by the way. Right now, too. I don't care if the meta is farm or fighter oriented when it comes to junglers like Lee Sin and such. I despise Kassadin, taking time on, of course. But I will say, 2v2s you will always win pre-6 and even post-6 too. Fizz technically can win the trades early on. Even if Kassadin takes bone plating, if you trade correctly and have wave states in good spots where it's slow pushing towards Kassadin, if Kassadin takes trades on you, it's possible you could win. You might be able to burst Kassadin with your ulti and maybe freeze waves on Kassadin while he's still weak. And because, you know, when Kassadin is like pre-level 11 and he doesn't have a single core mythic item, he can't really roam as effectively since he doesn't really do much. Yeah, you could possibly freeze on Kassadin and make Kassadin overstep, so that way you can get a jungler's gank. There's ways to minimize or, you know, counter Kassadin, and freezing is one of them, or slow pushing into tower diving depending on the situation. But typically I ban Kassadin. The jungler meta matters because if it's farm oriented junglers, Kassadin you always want to ban. Outscales you, and if your jungler can't play towards camping you and setting the Kassadin behind, stacking objectives and all that, I mean, Kassadin is just bound to, he's gonna pop off. Like, you solo kill him twice, it doesn't matter, because if he gets 100 farm, if he just scales up, you're not contesting anything, you're not pushing the pace with your jungler. It just, Kassadin will end up hitting level 16, outscaling, and outscaling your jungler who's trying to scale, whether that's Lilia, Morgana, when that was meta, Sejuani, any of these. Well, no, I wouldn't even say Sejuani, but it just comes down to any scaly jungle oriented meta where farming is what junglers try to go for. You always want to ban Kassadin. But yeah, early game is where you can counter Kassadin. It's through the 2v2s and wave states, if you could possibly freeze it. Onto the Katarina lane, probably one of your easier matchups. I mean, Katarina, you completely outdamage her, and typically there's two ways to play the lane. There's either the ones where you're autoing the wave level 1, you're Eing, trying to hit the wave and hit her, slow pushing the wave to hopefully tower dive her at level 3 and level 4. That's how Mango Fish plays the lane. You could do that. You could experiment with that. Kind of puts you in an awkward spot where you can get ganked. But Katarina, yeah, you do outdamage her if you play that playstyle perfectly and don't take too much minion aggro. The second way you can play the lane is you let Katarina shove you in. Level 3, you win trades. Because at level 2, it's kind of awkward. Katarina can win trades. But if you're slow pushing it, it's harder for her to do so since your wave will be bigger. But I will say that, yeah, level 2, if the wave is even, it's very likely if Katarina can get that dagger off, even if she takes electrocute and procs it, it'll deal a lot of burst. And Conqueror, yeah, Conqueror is really good, giving her extra adaptive force. So level 2 is probably her strong spot. Okay. Onwards of that, I will say that once you hit level 3, you always start off trades with Q auto W, it's Q auto W into just many autos, and then Eing her daggers, because it's really obvious when she's going to E on top of them, and it's really easy to dodge. Post 6, you could all in her with your shark pretty easily, and your E completely counters her ulti, so you have to hold your E for when she ultis, and without her ulti, she's missing out on like half her damage. So yeah, it's pretty easy lane. You could slow push into dive exceptionally easy, and you could slow push into roam, making Katarina not roam, but you roam and out roam her. So there's just many ways to win this lane. It's pretty easy, and this is one of Fizz's easiest lanes to counter. It's Katarina. Next up on the list, we got LeBlanc. LeBlanc is actually like a counter to Fizz because of how she's really mobile, which means if you Q2 her, she'll pair that up with a E, and she'll W away from your ulti. There's just a lot of things she could do mobility wise to minimize against Fizz, slow push, poke under tower with QW, and just give you such a painful time. You have to play off her mobility, which means that yes, she's very mobile, but it's so hard to explain. This lane is very hard to explain. The thing is, she's very burstable, and her builds never have MR. So if you're able to get the E off, if you're able to get the burst from your WQ auto and proc electrocute here and there, both of you have corrupting potion. If you get her the 3/4 HP and time whenever she goes for a minion with a shark, land a mid-range shark, she's very burstable. That is the one thing that you have on top of her, and CC counters. So if you have a jungler that's like Elise, even just not even CC junglers, but just very campy, ganky oriented jungles. We're talking J4, we're talking Lee Sin, we're talking Elise. You can camp LeBlanc since she overextends, and post 6, yeah, since she'll be overextended, I know her W is annoying, but it's either she uses it aggressively or defensively. So if your jungler camps, it's pretty manageable to shut down a LeBlanc, and you could snowball out of control and then roam afterwards. Next up on the list, we got Graves mid. Graves mid is popular, especially in like Korea right now. It's impossible to win 1v1 if I'm being real. You have to play for 2v2s or roaming, and it's hard to do that since Graves right now, I don't know why, he has a 55% win rate mid, or 54. You can't beat him 1v1, man. It's literally impossible. Long range shark, it doesn't matter. He'll be beating you in CS, AFK shoving you under tower. With his Q, he could E your ulti and W whenever you go for the engage, making it hard to combo him. He'll use his wave to his advantage, kite you back, and I mean, it's a painful time. You have to wait for moments where he recalls, where you could shove in waves and roam. He doesn't roam, he just stays in wave, farms up, and he outscales you. So it's literally just your junglers should be camping you in theory, and it's playing for those roams whenever you get the opportunity to. Now we got the Karma lane. It's pretty niche, like you won't play against Karma that much. I might recommend taking TP and Ignite, because there's no way you're killing Karma. There's just, it's impossible. She has E, she has W. If she Rs then Ws, that heals her. They nerfed AP Karma, so you shouldn't be playing against it that much. That AP nerf was more for top lane, but it's impossible to kill her in lane, and you have to play for the 2v2s and team fighting, and then it's kind of hard knowing that she's like a second support for her team at the same time mage. So honestly, she's not mobile, which means your jungler could camp, but it's playing for those 2v2s and roams, because you know she's a control mage after all. Now on to Lee Sin, where I don't know if the nerfs, I gotta check, one sec. The nerfs didn't do much, haha, funny. Okay, he's still S tier. Early game is when Lee Sin can be still good. I'm not lying when I say this. And Conquer with his E wave clear, yeah, it's 3 points E, or he maxes his E, whatever he chooses. It gives him wave clear, and his early game is where of course you could thrive in and maybe get a solo kill, but it's really awkward because he can beat you in the early game, but it's when he gets Gore Drinker, it feels impossible to burst him, and he can get Merc Treads. So this is a hard matchup actually. It's like he can roam 2v2s, he wins. Yeah, no, this is, I guess this is a more of a, like, in high ranks, he beats you 1v1, and it's kind of unfortunate. I'm sorry, I have nothing else to say besides maybe you could roam, maybe you could win 2v2s, but he stat checks you in this 2v2s. It's rough. Next up on the list, we got Lissandra. Kind of a counter to Fizz, actually. Like a soft counter, because Lissandra can counter you later on as the game progresses. Especially in the early lane, you have some kill threat. I mean, it's there, but because Lissandra has so much CC, if you play aggressive, especially when the lane is on her side, the jungler will 100% camp you. It just is a no-brainer. You Q forward and she presses W and then Qs. I mean, you're snared for 1 second and then you're slowed. So you're dead. You're just dead. 1v1 though, I mean, if you slow push the wave, there's ways to burst her. Especially pre-6, you can get solo kills onto her. Post-6, you have to save your ignite. Or not save, but you have to have your ignite for when she ultis, so that way it doesn't heal her as much. And yeah, just playing for that burst. She typically starts, well, sometimes she starts corrupting, sometimes she starts Duran Ring. If she starts Duran Ring, you could trade her a lot more heavily. If she starts corrupting potion, then it's going to be a lot harder to get solo kills, because she has a lot of sustain, and yeah, it's a even sustain war versus her if she just starts Duran Ring and plays for more of the mid game. Because in team fights, she locks you down. She's better than you in team fights. She could tank your R herself, be a pain to deal with because she tanked your complete R, so there goes half your damage in the team fight, and now she deals damage to everyone around her because she ulted herself. So yeah, it's killing her in the solo lane early on, and then hopefully out roaming her and beating the 2v2 matchups when it comes to mid laners and junglers. So yeah, that's how you win the Lissandra lane. It's more towards the early game where you have to win. Otherwise, she'll just outscale you. Now it's time to talk about the Lucian lane. In lower ranks, you'll know if you can win the lane. Oh, okay. Now it's time to talk about the Lucian lane. One of the hardest range matchups to play against. Because he can get exhaust, he can get barrier, he could build wits end, he could build merc treads, he could itemize and just make the situation really hard to win 1v1. Slow push waves really well, freeze waves really well. I mean, Lucian is very likely that you will have 40 CS versus his 100 CS and he'll have a level on you. I mean, it's that painful if you're playing against a good Lucian who knows how to manage waves. But most of the times, what I've noticed is pre-6, it's rough. I mean, it is rough. He'll slow push the wave, crash it, harass you under tower. He'll win 2v2s because he chips you out. And if your jungler camps and it works, nice, but it's just really rough. I mean, he'll E whenever you Q on top of him. He'll E back. And there are going to be maybe 1-2 moments where he's going to recall. You shove in one wave and you have the opportunity to roam. So, I mean, you play safe. You're going to be behind, obviously, but if you succeed at those roams, you'll be impactful for your team, but you won't necessarily stomp him. If he builds no MR, in that case, you could all-in him, possibly if he has no exhaust or barrier. But again, this is hard stuff. And yeah, refer to my ranged matchup guide where I show you how to win against Fizz Lucian. It's a lot of just backing up, playing safe, being half CS, never getting solo killed, and then just roaming whenever he recalls or he's doing something awkward on the map. And yeah, that's that. I mean, it's a very hard lane, so you have to play for other win conditions than just solo killing him. But if you're in low elo, I'm guessing he won't kite correctly, because yeah, and then he won't E away as soon as you Q. He won't save his E for when you E, or when he won't save his E, his dash, for when you do your most important ability, whether that's your E or ult. He'll probably just use it randomly to shove out a wave, and you could capitalize on that. So, I mean, yeah, Lulu lane's kind of like Karma. I mean, typically in the 1v1, she will technically win. The goal is to trade her whenever she uses the Q on a wave for wave clear. But I mean, she has a shield and then she has her W to put on top of you, which makes you polymorph. It's one of those matchups where it's either you kill her early game pre-6 or you can't kill her at all because of what she can do. It's not common right now. Lulu mid is never common, but when she is picked, you might have to just play for roams. And since she doesn't have that much mobility besides like a W movement speed up, she can get ganked. And yeah, Lux lanes are pretty easy. I mean, it's the typical mage lane, so if you can end up, most of the times she'll shove you in, she'll win levels 1, 2. And once you get level 3 on the wave pushing back, that's when you want a heavy trader. If she somehow lets you into Q range, lead off with your Q. Even if she Qs you, it's fine. Because what you want to do is she'll still be in range to get E'd. So if she Qs you, it'll snare you, but you'll be able to double hop E onto her, or E flop down dealing the slow. Taking those extended trades is key. And post 6, she doesn't have the highest movement speed in the game. Landing long range sharks is pretty easy to do. You win 2v2s and you can out roam her. Yeah, and the only way she can win 1v1 is if she takes barrier and like resolve. But those two summoner spells will really limit her mid to late game. And in that case, you could just play for the 2v2s and roams. And you don't have to play for solo killing her. Unless your jungler does come. Malzahar lanes, levels 1 to 3, I mean, you can let him shove you in. You could auto the wave, keep it there's two ways you can play this. You can either let him shove you in, especially if he's fast shoving. If he is last hitting, what you can do is keep the wave even. Level 2, get a mini trade onto him to get his shield off, whether that's double E into auto W. Or yeah, double E, get his shield off, auto W, get electrocute. This will put him at around, I want to say like 3/4 HP. Slow push the wave. He's not a very good champion early. At level 3, take another extended trade with your Q or another short trade with your E, and then slow push the wave into tower dive. Even if he has exhaust, even if he has barrier, it is manageable. He's a squishy champion early on, and after that, you could slow push Malzahar lanes really easily. His early game is horrible, especially pre-Lost Chapter. You could freeze it on him if possible. Just zone him from even touching the wave if you don't want to get ganked and you're pre-6 and you can't really roam. But I recommend post-6 just slow pushing into either tower diving or just roaming, because slow pushing, big wave, gives you a roam timer to roam. Either one works, but yeah, 2v2s you definitely win, and roaming is nice to do. But you have to shut him down because he's a control mage. He'll press R on you in team fights, and you can't really build QSS on Fizz most of the times. I mean, this ain't the LCS. So yeah, you have to get other lanes hopefully snowballed, so that way when he does R you, you have other people to help win you team fights. And most of the times in team fights, your goal is to just R from max range and then E in, flop down, and then Zonius, so that way he doesn't get the opportunity to press R. And if he does press R on you, I mean, he's basically wastes 6 seconds of a team fight. So you won your team the game throughout just winning the early game and playing for the 2v2s in the jungle. Neeko is a pretty medium difficulty matchup. I mean, her E mixed with her Q, at mid range, her E is pretty easy to dodge with your E. But what happens is you're going to Q onto her and she's going to press E. And mid animation, since your Q, you know, it's kind of easy to time it with. It's kind of easy for her to do. She'll slow push waves. She can get ganked. Again, you can play for roams. Eing whenever she ults is kind of essential. Post 6, landing max range sharks means you could basically kill her since she's very squishy. And again, it's just playing for those 2v2s, roams, and you have a lot of kill threat, like, yeah, just throughout the lane if you play it correctly. So yeah, she's not very common pick anyways, but she just kind of is like the mages I've mentioned before, like a Nivea. She is a mage, so kind of repetitive for what I have to say. Orianna is a soft counter to Fizz. Typically, because they nerfed her a while back, I forgot if it was her EMR. Refer to my how to go back to, there's a section called how to, what is it called? Close out games on Fizz. If you go to that section, I literally covered the Orianna lane. I mean, she'll slow push you in, fine. You can take aggressive trades early on, even if she has Igniter Barrier, just the wave can't be too big on her side. You have to be very tricky with the CS you go for, not take a lot of harass, and all in her with mid to max range sharks, especially if she doesn't EW. You have to make sure her Q is far enough away, so that way she doesn't EW herself, get enough movement speed to dodge your R. Landing those mid-range sharks is key. And then, yeah, your 2v2s are just way better. You could roam, you could out-roam her definitely. And she usually just plays for the mid to late game. So the early game you could dominate. It's just you have to play it correctly. And you could refer to that, how to close out games on Fizz, where I covered the Orianna matchup in a pretty easy to understand way. So yeah, if you want to in-depth how to win the Orianna lane, just go to that section where I covered that hard matchup. I don't think Orianna is an easy matchup to win at all. And next up on the list is Pantheon. Another hard matchup I don't think is easy to win at all. Typically, I mean, he stat checks you, which means he deals more damage. I mean, it's just as simple as that. The 1v1s are exceptionally hard. You have to let him slow push you in, crash into your tower. Level 3, the goal is to trade him when he doesn't have his 5 stacks up. And it's Eing whatever he uses on his 5 stacks. If it's his Q, you want to E his empowered Q. If it's his W, you want to E his empowered W. And level 3 to level 6, believe it or not, you can kill him. You can kill him in lane. You have to E his empowered ability. And then if the wave is favorable, you could all in him. No, I don't want to say easily, because what Pantheon wins is extended trades, which is what Fizz wants to do. So get it? Fizz wants to go for extended trades, and that's what Pantheon's good at. So that's why he just completely stat checks you. He could E your ulti or E your E. He could build Merc Treads. There's so many ways he could win this lane. And honestly, it's killing him pre-6 or just getting a really good recall. I guess that's kind of your goal, but typically in the 1v1, it's a pain, not gonna lie. And then he'll beat you in the 2v2 situations and out-roam you, especially if he's slow pushing into you because he has his ulti. Yeah, this is a rough lane, honestly, but it's winnable. You have to rush Zonia. I recommend, especially in the item section, I talked about going Proto first. In these lanes, Pantheon, I think you might want to rush Zonias. Get Seekers and Lucidity Boots. Get Seekers last. Get Seekers last because Seekers is really bad, but you just want to build Zonias, the item, because it gives you the 45 armor. Seekers doesn't give enough armor to rush, but you might want to sit on cloth armor if you back with 300 gold and you already have boots, of course. The Nocturne lane is kind of like Pantheon. I mean, yeah, he stat checks you again, and how you win this lane is, again, from levels 3 to 6, you can kill him in lane where he's kind of weak. But, I mean, yeah, he spell shields your E. His E beats your E range, and Q, it's rough. It is really rough. He'll shove in. The good news is he has no mobility, which means he can get ganked. Maybe in the 2v2s you win, but again, this is a pretty rough lane. The Kiana lane, she wins pre-first back when you have less burst damage than her, but after the first back, you could short trade into all in pretty easily. I mean, you win the 1v1 post pre-first back, or after your first back. When you get Darksteel and or Duran Ring, you start to out trade her, and she's very squishy. You could all in her. She typically rushes Shredded Dirk, which means post 6 you can get the all in. And I mean, yeah, she'll have no MR. She almost never goes MR, and if she does, she's not the best because, well, yeah, she needs her long swords and Prowler's Claw along with Lucidity Boots or whatever mythic she buys. It's usually just AD. So you win 1v1 and you could slow push into roam into her if she's making it hard to actually get a kill. but typically you just win 1v1, and yeah, you just can't die first blood pre-level 6 where she's strong, and you have to wait until you have 400 or 350 gold to get Dark Seal Duran Ring, and then start winning trades afterwards. The Rise lane is actually pretty hard. Like, this is actually a counter if he slow pushes correctly. But one thing I will say is, even with Everfrost, he goes Everfrost Merc Shreds if he's itemizing for that specific lane. If he goes Ludens, if he doesn't have Kindle Gem, he is very burstable, which means that if you land a mid to max range Shark, he is very one-shottable. He shoves in waves and he doesn't have wave clear. You can use your jungler to try to help, but typically your goal is just not to get chunked out too much if he's slow pushing a wave into you. And I mean, yeah, it's just trying to go for the all-ins after you get like a mini trade, because he has a snare and he has wave clear. So it's kind of rough actually dealing with him, because he could harass you under tower too. And he has lockdown, so when you do play aggressive, he could lock you down, especially if it's deep in his lane for his jungler to gank. So it's a hard lane, but in the 2v2s and roams, again, you do win. The Seraphine lane, I mean, it's pretty easy. Typically, I mean, it's a mage that scales, so 2v2s you win, roams you win, and she's very all-inable, especially if you can get her to use her W, which will make her a bit chunky. Just Q auto W, she'll use her W, whatever, the trade does no damage. Even if she takes bone plating, again, the trade will do no damage. After she has no W, when she has no W, all in her. Like, literally, shark her at full HP, you could probably all in her. Yeah, the exception is if she has exhaust, but if she has barrier, yeah, then you'll have to go for a short trade into all in. She's a very all-inable champion. She's squishy, and again, 2v2s and roams, you kill her with those, and shoving in against her is pretty easy to do. Or roaming on a cannon wave, because of course she matches your wave clear since it's Seraphine, but on a cannon wave, just start looking for roams, looking for those jungle fights, looking for those drags where you win, and that will stop her from scaling so hard, because you should in theory have Dragon Soul as win condition and or Rift Herald to actually pressure first tower and such. The set lane is kind of like the Lucian lane. I mean, he just wins. He just wins. He out-tanks your damage. It's like, you could say, just don't get hit by his middle core, because his middle core deals the most damage. It's impossible, because unless you're just never trading him, you're going to Q or E in, and if he E's and then W's, he'll guaranteed land the middle part. But if, what's it called? Okay. How to play this out? It's if he E's you, then you could dodge his W core by just walking or pressing E. But since you're melee, he doesn't need an EU to engage. He could just wait for you to go in because you're Fizz. You want to go in. He has no mobility, so you can get ganked. And 2v2, it's possible that he can win the 2v2s. And yeah, just stop you altogether from roaming, since he's so lane dominant. If you roam when there's a wave mid, he'll probably take 2 tower plating, since he's really good at that. And I mean, this is a rough lane. You actually need jungle help. And the 2v2s, your junglers cannot rely on you to effectively be there. Shaco, even though he's a jungler, I do have to cover. You can't play aggressive. If he's not in vision, you cannot play aggressive against Shaco. Shaco jungle, it is very likely, the higher the rank you are, the more you'll notice this. Anytime Fizz wants to go in, Shaco is like the perfect counter ganker, because if he uses his Q or E, Shaco's W makes it so that, yeah, you just have to flash. And if you flash, I mean, you're kind of you can't be as useful, and he'll just camp your lane. I mean, you're the easiest lane to camp since you're Fizz. You want to play aggressive unless you want to get chipped out and slowly lose the lane, slowly lose in CS, and never able to roam. So if he literally just plays for mid, he'll win. So yeah, this is rough. It's like your jungler has to hover mid if you ever want to play aggressive. Otherwise than that, you just can't play aggressive. Even if they're shoving you under tower, you still can't play aggressive, because anything at the middle point of the lane, Shaco can gank and he can kill. So I mean, this is the rough jungle matchup that I hate so much. Sylas is much more doable now that he got his W and Q change. In the early game pre-6, there's 2 ways to play this lane. You could either start W, play for shove. The only con to this is that at level 3, he'll have the wave at his tower. He'll be in trading range where he has all the space to trade. You can get ganked, and he'll push you back out for the scuttle fight. So unless you get the solo kill at level 3, starting W is just, yeah. So at low ranks, you could start W, experiment with it, and you could pop off as long as you dodge his E. You'll always win trades because Silas's pre-level 3 is semi-weak, depending on how you both play it out. But typically, I recommend you just get shoved in, and at level 3, that's when you just want to farm up. Start playing for those long traits on the pushed wave back out, and then you could play for the scuttle fight. Since in the 2v2s, you definitely do win pre-6, but post-6, it's a bit questionable, especially when he gets some items. But because his W doesn't give him as much healing, it's a lot more doable this lane. And he is a lot more burstable since he doesn't get as much healing. So yeah, this lane is doable. You just have to play the early game really well, unless or else he'll outscale you. So that's the Silas lane. Syndra lane, pretty straightforward. Just dodge your Qs. Alter at max range if possible, and she'll slow push you in, of course. Just a typical mage matchup. You win 2v2s and you can out roam her. So typically this lane is very doable, very much so doable. And in mid game team fights, if you can get her from a flank, you can one shot her, even if she has CS on you. If she played the lane properly, she's very one shottable in the mid game. And I mean, yeah, typical mage matchup that I've covered before. Talon lane, one of those Kiana, it's like Kiana. You have to respect him pre-level 6 and pre-first back, where you actually don't deal enough damage to outburst Talon. Just wait until 350 gold or 400 and then look to trade after you get Dark Seal and or Durin Ring. Playing for the scuttle fight is key on the wave push back, but I mean, again, he out damages you. And he's one of those champions that he's known to actually be getting those first bloods, so it is very rough. After that, though, I mean, yeah, he's very much so all-inable, and you win short-term trades because you could E the second part of his W, so he can never get a passive auto off. And then post 6, you could all-in him. If he goes the Gore Drinker build, this is rough. Once he builds Gore Drinker, thank Riot Games. He'll actually beat you 1v1 with his bruiser-like builds. He tanks your damage, he'll heal, and then out-damage you with Conquer. So before Gore Drinker, you definitely have to win, but not before your first back. And then you have to win the 2v2s and roams. So yeah, that's the Talon lane. It's pretty medium difficulty matchup because of Gore Drinker. If he goes Eclipse or Prowler's Claw, he is trolling because you will definitely beat him in all stages of the game and just snowball out of control because he's not tanky at all. He just will lose 1v1. Playing against that T-Fate, Twisted Fate, pretty medium difficulty matchup. He tends to just play for roams, and if he goes 80 Twisted Fate, typically he's a lot more, no, he's not a lot more burstable. He can go Wit's End. It's rough. It's rough. Let's just say that it is rough if he goes Wit's End, and because the reason why is if you try to all-in him, he won't die. He'll be at 1/4 HP, especially if he's taking barrier or exhaust, and then his autos are very consistent, which means if you have no Q or E, he will be autoing you down and actually looking for the solo kill and turning it on you. If he goes AP, typically he is a lot more burstable. This is a lot more of an easier lane, and then he just plays for shove and roam. But again, a shark, a mid to max range shark is just, he's doomed. He's going to die. He has no mobility. Junglers can capitalize on it. But it is rough for 80 Twisted Fate. I mean, I've played against this a couple times, and it is rough. You can kill him pre-6 sometimes if he mismanages the wave. But other than that, I mean, it is a tragedy. The fact that 80 Twisted Fate can be this strong because Wit's End is this strong. So, yeah, just try to kill him in the early game. Play for those 2v2s. Other than that, short trade into all-in, like I mentioned before. And that is the Twisted Fate lane. Veigar, pretty standard mage. I mean, again, you win 2v2s, you can out-roam him. This is a pretty easy matchup. So, I mean, he scales, just play to trade him, and I mean, yeah, it's self-explanatory. You literally just win early. Even if he takes barrier, exhaust, you win early. let him shove you in, hit level 3, try to look for trades, be clever with the way you maneuver with your auto attacks. And I mean, he can't win 1v1 even if he takes barrier, electrocute, and resolve. He just doesn't win 1v1 if you play it semi well. Other than that, again, you could play for the 2v2s or roams. There's a lot of ways you could win the game, not even just through killing him in lane. Same concept with Vel'Koz. I mean, it's a standard mage. He may outrange you, which means you might have to play for shove and roam or just vision control and the 2v2s. I mean, yeah, so that's the Vel'Koz range. A mid to max range shark would basically guarantee a kill. And I mean, again, like the Veigar lane, it's a pretty standard lane, kind of like the Syndra lane too. It's just based off of who can play it better, I guess, but typically you have the upper hand. Victor, he can be a medium difficulty matchup. He can beat you 1v1 if he goes electrocute and resolve with barrier or ignite, depending. And you might have to rely on your jungler to gank if he's flawlessly kiting you out and pressuring you with his E and Q. But most of the times they don't do that, which means there's going to be times where he shoves you in. You're going to hit level 3 on a wave that's bouncing back out to him. You could trade him, and he's very all-inable if you can land the shark. But most times, yeah, it's if he properly uses his E and Q to harass you and starts corrupting potion, it's very rough in the 1v1. But in the 2v2s, yeah, there's a chance that most likely you will win. And in the mid game, if you could shark him at max range, you could burst him. But typically they go glass cannon, and it is a rough lane for Fizz. If played perfectly, it's all on the Victor's skill. But if they misplay, if they misstep, if they get into E range, if they get into Q range, it is a pretty easy one shot, depending on what build he's going. So yeah, Vladimir lane, it's a pretty medium difficulty matchup. Again, in the 1v1, if you let Vladimir slow push you in, you hit level 3, extended long trades only. Never want to take short trades. You always want to trade very long, Q auto W, or Q W auto as much as possible before Vladimir gets 2 rotations of Q. Never trade when Vladimir has his charged up Q. And yeah, 2v2s you definitely win. Vladimir is very weak early on. Maybe in the 1v1 he can outlive, but typically if Vladimir tries to hold the wave on his side, just start to just roam all the time. So that way Vladimir, even if he is scaling, you are winning your team the game throughout just roaming and such. And the 2v2s you always win again. So this lane's kind of rough in the 1v1, since all Vladimir tries to do is just sustain off minions and chill. And then you never want to E to start off trades. It's always with Q. E whenever Vladimir E's, or yeah, it's E whenever Vladimir charges up the E, or to E away when Vladimir has his bar stacked up with red. So it's a medium difficulty matchup. Xerath, again, pretty standard mage, except this time one of the longest ranged mages in the game. QR is going to be essential to actually killing Xerath. Getting max range sharks is pretty easy because Xerath's movement speed is pretty slow, especially when he's charging up Q. 2v2s you win. He is very easy to one-shot. He is a vulnerable target who is shoved up with no mobility, can get punished. QR is going to be your best combo if he's never letting you engage onto him. And yeah, his auto range, his Q range is a pain trying to get into range to try to kill him, but you could play off roams too. And yeah, just typical mage matchup. Yasuo, pretty medium difficulty matchup. You have to respect him. I covered this already. Yeah, you can refer to, what was it? How to play the early, mid, and late game section. Literally, I covered this perfectly. Get shoved in, hit level 3, all in him. I'm not kidding. It is literally that. Even if he cheetah recalls, it doesn't matter. If he has Blade of the Rune King or 2 Blade of the Rune Kings, you could still do this. It's let him shove you in, you'll hit level 3, bounce back the wave, all in him. After you get maybe a short trade, like where you auto him to get his bone plating off. But he's really easy to all in post level 3. And then you always have to E his Q tornado, so that way he can never ult. And most times you'll be queuing 2 times within a trade. So it's a pretty medium difficulty matchup, knowing that he outscales you, but it's easy in the early game. We got the Yone lane. Kind of the same, again, it's literally the same thing. He shoves you in. Level 3 onwards is when you win. He outscales you. Same thing as Yasuo. So I mean, except this one, I feel like out of Yasuo versus Yone, I think Yone is a tad bit more easier in my opinion. You can E his W, and then if he tries to R away when he's getting ganked, just make sure to Q and stand in front of his R. Sharking him, yep, mid-range, since he could always E your shark. And I mean, yeah, you just out trade him if you go for these long trades where he's vulnerable. You have to always factor conquer, because if they have 12 conquer stacks, that's when they may start to win the trade. So you have to always trade them, so that way they're at 8 to 10 stacks of conquer. That's when you'll get you'll maybe get like Q auto W E and then auto. So that's a long trade, but they'll only have like 10 conqueror stacks. You can't out trade them when they're at 12 conqueror stacks, because the extra adaptive force will give you quite the problem. Now we got the Yuumi lane. Yuumi's just so hard to win. Yeah, you'll probably just lose. You'll probably make Yuumi go 0-10, but Yuumi will just go on to whoever's fed, and then that fed person will win because Yuumi's OP. Just dodge the game. Now we got Zed. Pretty, I want to say easy matchup. You counter Zed in my honest opinion if you play the lane the way I say. You don't want to start E and then let him shove you in. You want to start W, auto him whenever he steps up for a creep with your W, and dodging his Q is basically essential. It's a lot more of a player mechanic where dodging his shurikens basically everything. Pre-6, you could E his W EQ combo. So level pre-6, you should always win, right? Post-6, you have to save your E for when he ults. Always never E if he has ult, because he'll combo you up and you're dead. So you'll start W every time he walks up for a minion, W, and spacing is key, right? Spacing is key. Like, he'll try to just maneuver out of that range and try to hit you with raw Qs where it doesn't hit a minion, it just hits you. Always dodge his Q, slow push it under his tower, and especially the lower the rank you go, the more you'll notice it. He'll just try to keep autoing minions or queuing minions in the range of your W. You'll slow push it into tower dive at level 3 if he's not careful. Other than that, when you slow push it, if you start W and just play it correctly, what will end up happening is you'll get a good recall, and that's ideally what you want. You could hold the wave on your side and you'll have a Duran ring advantage, or during that time after the wave crashes, there'll be a scuttle fight where you'll have prio, and you're controlling the pace of what's happening in the game when you're playing versus Fizz and Zed, where Zed wants to control. And post 6, I mean, rushing Zonias is pretty nice because you'll have the stopwatch. You could use it and actually use E on him instead of saving it for his ulti. And Fizz, believe it or not, especially in the mid to late game, has moments where he just naturally is stronger than Zed, so you kind of outscale him in ways, but I wouldn't rely on that. You want to look for solo kills early on, especially pre-6 and even post-6, because, well, Zed is Zed. The only time I would worry is if you're at Darksteel Duran Ring and he's at Shredded Dirk, and you're both 0-0-0, because Shredded Dirk is just a really powerful power spike on Zed. And if he gets a WEQ combo, that will do half your HP. If you dodge that altogether, you don't have to worry about Shredded Dirk, since, again, it's his Q that will make the champion strong. It's literally WEQ. That's Zed's combo. You pass that, you should be good. We're on to our last champions. We got Ziggs. Pretty standard mage matchup. He maybe could win if he goes Barrier, Electrocute, and Resolve, but that makes his mid to late game so weak. Again, a pretty standard mage matchup, so repetitive again. Short trade him into all in. Long trades are really good in this lane where you lead off with your Q. If he doesn't tether you properly, you can zone him completely from the wave. You could, well, not slow push, but just find moments to roam really easily. Always show up to fights first. Make him have lack of vision with sweeper, and in that case, he'll be face checking bushes where you could land your ulti. It's just a very manageable lane and pretty easy to deal with. Zillion's probably a free low matchup. Same thing as all mages. Again, the 2v2s you win. You could zone him from the wave. These mages are the same, man. They're the same. The only thing you have to worry about Zilean outscales because of his R, and that is kind of annoying with his speed up and such. But he won't do much when it comes to damage, because you should be able to shut him down pretty easily. So that's the Zilean lane. And Zoe, the higher the rank you go, the more you'll notice how hard this matchup can be. What she is relying on is going to be her W. Pre-level 3, all-inning her is basically impossible if she plays it well enough, because she'll have Ignite, she'll have your Ignite, and she'll have your Flash and her Flash. And on top of that, she'll be slow pushing waves, so that way her wave is always bigger than yours, and she'll be harassing you as you try to farm minions. So if she plays this correctly, yeah, post 6 with a long range shark, that is literally the goal, or getting ganked, and then it's all under W. I don't like saying lanes are coin flip, but this lane is literally a coin flip. If she gets exhaust, you're doomed. If she gets Everfrost, it's kind of a pain. It depends on what she gets from her W. Battle Song makes her super fast and dodge your ulti. Yeah, she uses her summoner spells. She uses your summoner spells against yourself, and it is a pain. It's literally long range sharks is key, and never getting caught by E. If you get hit by her E, you're doomed. So you have to E her E at all costs, whether that's Q, auto W, and then you have to keep autoing her and then predict whenever she's gonna E, dodge her E, and then she's very all-inable. If she's at 3/4 HP, she's a squishy mage, so she's all-inable, and CC's her counter. So if you have a jungler that maybe has CC, even better. But typically, yep, lockdown and burst, get her. Last on the list, we have Zyra. You'll never play against Zyra, and again, she's one of the typical mages I covered, so I'm done here. Woo! 2 hours. 2 hours of narration. I'm probably going to cut this down into 1 hour where I was talking, but my throat is like done for. I need a refill on water. That's going to be the end of this guide. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, please, for the algorithm, and I'll catch you next time. I'm out.